Chapter 3081 New Changes in the Death Zone. Now, Yi Tian has broken through to the high-level cultivation base of the God realm in the Eternal Realm, and then plans to make the race a top power. Once the human race becomes a top force, they can send 10 world gods to the Jieting headquarters to take up important positions, and they will also have a certain right to speak in the Jieting headquarters. Certainly, at present, the human race only has him as a high-level world god, which is not enough to make the human race a top power. It is not so easy to create a top power. If a high-level world god can become a top power, then the top power will be too easy. Besides, the responsibilities of the top forces are even heavier. If the high-level world god is killed, wouldn't the top forces immediately fall to the powerful forces? Therefore, the requirements for becoming a top power are very high. First of all, 3 high-level world gods must be born, and 10 middle-level world gods who are the peak of the middle-level gods in the eternal world. It is the middle-level peak world god of the eternal world god realm who gathers 6 eternal world spirits, not an ordinary middle-level world god. In addition, the number of world gods must reach 1,000. Unable to become a top power. As for the land issue, it is simple, as long as the land is not small. If you really have the strength of the top forces, it will be too easy to expand the territory. However, according to Yi Tian's understanding, many of the top forces in the Eastern Wu territory actually did not develop slowly, but a joint force. For example, one of the powerful forces has a high-level world god and several middle-level world gods at the peak of the middle level, so it cannot become a top power at all, but there are 2 other forces with almost the same strength. Ever since, these 3 forces have joined together to form one force, so that they can pass the assessment of the Jieting court and become a top force. Once it becomes a top power, there are too many benefits, and it is hoped to obtain more resources and treasures in the future, so as to cultivate more middle-level world gods and high-level world gods. During the long years of running in, some forces have gradually merged into one force, almost indistinguishable from each other. However, some of the top forces are not well integrated, they are still divided, but on the surface they are still one force, but in fact they have split into several forces in the dark, not even in the same territory. Management and development are all taking care of each other. For example, the Liuhuo Sacred Alliance, the top force in the Eastern Wu realm, is also very powerful, and there are many high-level world gods, but it is split into 5 veins, each of which is actually a separate force. Of course, even if the Flowing Fire Sacred League split into 5 factions, each faction would have the strength of a top faction. It's just that they can't be separated casually. If they really separate, only one power can maintain the title of top power, and the other powers will not be recognized by the World Alliance. If it is approved, many top forces will choose to do this and split more branches of the top forces to obtain more benefits, and it will be a mess. It is precisely because of this regulation that the 5 veins of the extinct Saint League were not divided into 5 forces. It is impossible for the human race to combine with other forces, and it still has to develop slowly. As long as my wife and children have enough black leaf magic gold, it will be no problem to raise the eternal Tao seed to the current limit, and the assistance I found can condense the eternal world. All spiritual resources are left to them, and the success rate of their breakthrough should be more than 50%. Yi Tian thought to himself. A 50% chance is pretty good. Even if they can't all break through for the first time, there must be a breakthrough for the first time. At that time, it will be no problem to gather 3 high-level world gods. The current world gods of the human race are also born one by one. It is not too difficult to gather 1,000 world gods in the future. The only problem is that we have to gather 10 eternal world gods, middle-level peak world gods, which will take a long time to cultivate. Yi Tian and his wife and children were able to advance to the mid-level peak cultivation base of the God realm in the eternal realm so quickly because he had cultivated the perfect eternal Tao seed, and he could use some resources to quickly upgrade the eternal Tao seed without worrying about eternity. Demon seeding. But other world gods can't do this. Of course, there are similar resources with low side effects, but they are too precious. For example, the value of resources similar to the effect of black leaf magic gold is definitely thousands of times or even tens of thousands of times more precious than black leaf magic gold. High-level world gods have to fight for it and replace it with black leaf magic gold. But it can be traded easily. That's the difference. The next step is to train some human geniuses, but the focus is still on them. Yi Tian thought to himself. In the days that followed, Yi Tian took out more resources to cultivate the genius world gods among the human race, and the focus was on cultivating the world gods among the descendants of the Yi family. In this way, the long years passed. The world gods among the human race were born one after another, but it was very difficult for the mid-level world god to give birth to another one. Seeing this, Yi Tian doesn't expect the human race to become a top power in a short time. Certainly, even if the human race is not a top force, he is not afraid of the general top forces now. With his strength, he can sweep those top forces by himself. After all, he himself is equivalent to a number of high-level world gods who have been cultivated at the peak of the high-level gods in the eternal world, copying their bodies one by one without fear of falling. Which top power can be as powerful as him? Eternal Borders, an area near the Endless Kingdom Alliance. On this day, a human eternal realm was exploring here, and suddenly discovered that the death zone here exudes vitality. The death zone here is slowly transforming into a treasure land. Seeing such a wonderful thing, he returned immediately, and reported this Zhao phenomenon to the human race, and also passed it to Yi Tian's ears. Backquote, a dead zone suddenly turned into a treasure. Yi Tian was also very surprised. According to his understanding, except for some inherent treasure lands, and using the Eternal Kingdom decree to open up the Eternal Kingdom, the death zone can be reversed and turned into a treasure land. Under other circumstances, it is impossible to reverse the death zone. If the death zone can be turned into a treasure land, then those top forces in the realm of the gods will not give up the eternal realm, but have already moved to the eternal realm one by one. Everyone knows that the eternal national boundary is the real main realm, and the Jishan national boundary is only attached to the eternal national boundary. Moreover, the territory of the eternal national boundary is even wider. Who would not want to develop the eternal national boundary? After getting the news, Yi Tian came here immediately to check the situation here. Chapter 3082 The Eternal Kingdom of Tens of Thousands of Human Beings, Changes in the Death Zone. This is it. Yi Tian came to the place where the human race discovered the eternal realm, and saw this treasure land that was about to be born. Although it was just an ordinary treasure land, it was only equivalent to an ordinary area of the eternal kingdom. However, this place was originally a death zone, and there were no other treasure lands around it, so no new treasure lands could be derived. If there is a dark wind belt nearby, and the influence of the dark wind belt has caused changes in this area and created a small-scale treasure land, then it would make sense. However, this place is surrounded by death zones, so it is logically impossible for a treasure land to be born here. Many treasures in the death zone are actually special areas caused by the collision between the demon seed abyss and the eternal realm, such as the despair abyss. Although it will breed a lot of resources, it will also turn the eternal realm into demons. But the situation here doesn't belong to any of them. It's really weird. Yi Tian is going to stay here and observe the situation here. Years pass. A death zone area gradually turned into a normal area, as if a small eternal kingdom was born here. The key is that this area is slowly spreading and expanding. 307 At this rate, it won't take long for it to develop into an eternal kingdom. This is not an eternal kingdom created by using the eternal kingdom order, but an area bred by nature. Will this expansion stop? If it doesn't stop, won't it spread to the entire eternal kingdom in the future? Yi Tian thought so. If it really spreads to the entire eternal realm, it means one thing, that is, the death zone of the eternal realm will disappear, and the entire eternal realm will recover. When he thought of this, Yi Tian knew that something big had happened. If the eternal kingdom is restored, countless forces from the realm of the realm will move back. At that time, the situation in the eternal border will also undergo tremendous changes. In the following days, Yi Tian sent a large number of eternal Dao realm, half-step eternal world god realm, and even world god realm to explore various parts of the eternal kingdom to see if a similar situation occurred. Moreover, he also asked the human world gods at the world court headquarters to inquire about relevant information. Soon after, the human race has indeed found a similar situation in other areas of the eternal realm. Ancestor, we have discovered the successful reversal of the death zone in these territories. A human race half-step eternal realm god realm report. I understand, you go down. Yi Tian waved his hands and said. Yes. Everyone retreated. At this moment, Yi Tian was deep in thought. He knew very well that several areas in the death zone were reversing, returning from the death zone to normal areas. This is not a special case, nor is it just these places, there must be other places. Although it only occupies a very insignificant territory now, as time goes by, more and more areas will be restored. After a long time, the entire eternal kingdom will recover. It may not be able to catch up with the kingdom of the world god within a certain period of time, but it will definitely catch up with the kingdom of the world god in the future. The foundation of the human race is originally on the eternal border, which is a good opportunity. Perhaps, he can seize this opportunity to open up more eternal kingdoms and occupy the Guang family's territory. When those forces want to occupy territory in the eternal kingdom in the future, the human race can at least occupy a vast territory. There is no need to keep those eternal kingdom orders. Let those in the eternal Tao realm use them to open up the eternal kingdom for the human race. Yi Tian murmured. Over the years, he has accumulated a lot of eternal kingdom tokens, all of which were found in the true realm of the eternal Tao realm. The realm god cannot enter the true realm of the eternal Tao realm, but he can copy the body of the eternal Tao realm, thus entering the true realm of the eternal Tao realm. Therefore, for a long time, he has been collecting eternal kingdom tokens, accumulating a large number of eternal kingdom tokens in his hand, but has not used them. After all, he is also afraid of opening up too many eternal kingdoms and attracting too many demonic abyss. But now, he must seize the opportunity. Wow, a bunch of eternal kingdom orders fell into his hands, and the number of these eternal kingdom orders has reached tens of thousands. Subsequently, he put these eternal kingdom orders into the human race temple and let those in the eternal realm of the eternal kingdom redeem them, almost at a free price. As long as they have mastered the eternal Tao seed, they can easily redeem them. An eternal national order. Certainly, Yi Tian will not let these eternal realms open up eternal kingdoms here in the Endless Kingdom Alliance, otherwise tens of thousands of eternal kingdoms will pile up together, which is not a good thing. He plans to let these eternal realms disperse to open up an eternal kingdom. After all, the territory of eternal border is very vast and can be spread out, so that one can occupy a piece of territory, and the influence of the human race will also radiate to the entire eternal border. However, the human race itself must be strong, otherwise it will be impossible to defend these territories. In addition, Yi Tian also allowed the several death zone areas that were undergoing reversal to be used as the territory for the human race to open up the eternal kingdom. Since those areas can be the first to be reversed, they may become top treasures in the future, so they must be occupied as soon as possible. As a result, many human races have gone to the eternal Tao realm and opened up eternal kingdoms. Humans now have many eternal realms where they can practice eternal Tao, so tens of thousands of eternal kingdoms have been used up in a short period of time, turning into tens of thousands of eternal kingdoms. After these tens of thousands of eternal kingdoms are opened up, a large number of human races can move there. Each human race can obtain a huge territory and a large amount of resources, and the development of the human race will naturally be faster. Of course, there are naturally more demonic abyss projections. Yi Tian did not go to destroy the demonic abyss one by one, and let the humans deal with it by themselves, guarding and dealing with the demonic species. He can't take care of it now. It's impossible to consider everything for the human race, so what should the human race do? So, he is not worried now. Moreover, the human race is now also very powerful, so naturally he does not need to worry too much. This day, the intelligence agent at the World Court headquarters delivered a message, which was about the reversal of the death zone in the Eternal Kingdom. After reading it, Yi Tian murmured, "Sure enough, the Jieding headquarters has long discovered the changes in the Eternal Realm, and has had several discussions. It's just that the human intelligence officer was too low level and didn't know what was discussed in those discussion meetings. However, he knew very well that the forces in the realm of the realm would definitely take action next." Chapter 3083 Xiao Yu attacks the high-level world god. Currently, the death zone in the eternal realm has just begun to transform, so the Jieding headquarters has not made any other moves yet, but it won't be too long before they will definitely intervene in the eternal realm. Yi Tianxin thought, he can't do much now, he can only occupy some territory as much as possible and quickly develop the strength of the human race. In this way, the years passed. In the blink of an eye, tens of billions of years have passed. After such a long time, some territories in the eternal border death zone have been successfully reversed, turning from death zones into normal territories. And at this time, all the realm gods in the entire eternal realm knew about this matter and began to discuss it heatedly. However, they only discussed and did not occupy these territories. After all, there are not many resources in these territories at the moment, they are only equivalent to ordinary areas of the eternal kingdom. Furthermore, they do not have the eternal kingdom order, and there is no way to open up the eternal kingdom in large numbers in these areas. However, the human race has opened up so many eternal kingdoms, but it still cannot be concealed, and it is known to the Jieding and some Sishan. That is to say, Yi Tian was so powerful that these world gods did not dare to question the origin of the eternal order. If an ordinary world god had obtained so many eternal national decrees, he would have been targeted and captured long ago. This day, many top forces sent realm gods into the eternal realm, and a large number of realm gods poured into the eternal realm. Such a big movement naturally attracted Ye Kai's attention. Subsequently, these forces took out the treasured Eternal Kingdom order and used it, and opened up the Eternal Kingdom on the Eternal Kingdom border one after another. Suddenly, the number of Eternal Kingdoms in the entire Eternal Kingdom skyrocketed. After the Eternal Kingdom was opened up, these world gods guarded these Eternal Kingdoms. They did not continue to do anything else but open up the Eternal Kingdom. Some forces do not have many Eternal Kingdom orders and cannot open up many Eternal Kingdoms, so they directly occupy some areas after the death zone has been reversed, build some ancient cities here, and declare that this place belongs to them. Because the Eternal Kingdom is too vast, not many forces are involved, so they will not compete with each other. In the days that followed, these forces sent a large number of creatures in, almost all of them were in the Eternal Tao realm and half-step Eternal World God realm. Under normal circumstances, creatures from the realm of gods cannot enter here, but these top forces can send some creatures into the realm of eternity at will, and this is also with the permission of the realm headquarters. But the same cannot be said for powerful forces, and there is no way to participate. This time, the dozen or so top forces in the Dongwu territory also sent many Eternal Tao realms into the Eternal Kingdom. After Yi Tian chatted with several high-level world gods, he learned some details. That is, in the future, the Kingdom of Realm God will gradually transfer some living beings into the Eternal Kingdom, focusing on the development of the Eternal Kingdom. Because according to the intelligence they received, the eternal border is being restored. Infinite years ago, the Eternal Kingdom was nearly exterminated by the demon seed abyss, and the entire Eternal Kingdom became a death zone. Only through the Eternal Kingdom order to open up the Eternal Kingdom can it be temporarily restored to life. But how big is the Eternal Kingdom? If you want to spread across the entire Eternal Kingdom, you need countless Eternal Kingdoms. Therefore, it is impossible to restore the Eternal Kingdom by relying on the Eternal Kingdom. Like the Kingdom of the World God, the territory occupied by the Eternal Kingdom is only very small. Other places are similar to the Eternal Kingdom. There is no need to open up the Eternal Kingdom and you can live there directly. If the Eternal Kingdom is completely restored, then there will be no need to open up the Eternal Kingdom. Any territory can be lived in and countless creatures can reproduce. It seems that in the future, those top forces in the realm of ghosts and gods will completely divide the Eternal Kingdom. Yi Tian thought. Fortunately, the human race has opened up tens of thousands of Eternal Kingdoms. Compared with the entire Eternal Kingdom, these territories are naturally insignificant, but the area affected by radiation is very wide. And he has already reported it to the Jia Ting, so the Jia Ting will not drive away the human race. In the days to come, the human race needs to multiply the population in large numbers and cultivate more Eternal Tao realms, so that more world gods can be cultivated in the future. Unknowingly, tens of billions of lane record years have passed. At this time, many human world gods have been born, but there is still no intermediate world god in the Eternal World God realm. However, more than a dozen elementary world gods who condense the three eternal world spirits have been cultivated. If they work harder, after a while, if he gives some more support, they can still upgrade their cultivation level to the intermediate realm god cultivation level within tens of billions of eras. 0 Please give me flowers. However, it is more difficult for them to gather 6 eternal world spirits. This day, Yi Tian's wife Xiaoyu finally used the black leaf magic gold to upgrade the eternal Tao seed to the limit of the intermediate world god, and was qualified to attack the 7th eternal world spirit. Of course, the success rate of Xiaoyu's breakthrough will not be very high. Even with the help of a large number of auxiliary resources and the experience given by Yi Tian, there is only a 50% chance at most. Once the breakthrough fails, it will not be able to continue to hit the bottleneck for a long time, and eternity needs to be restored. Tao seed. Xiaoyu was also a little nervous about this time of hitting the bottleneck. Asterisk 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 asterisk. But in the end, she decided to hit the bottleneck. UAA, don't worry, if you attack directly, it doesn't matter if you fail. If you spend more resources to restore the eternal Tao seed, you can recover slowly in hundreds of billions of Tao era years at most. Yi Tian said. Xiaoyu nodded slightly. Later, under the protection of Yi Tian, Xiaoyu began to attack the bottleneck to condense the 7th perfect level eternal world spirit. Wow, she took out a variety of resources, all of which could increase the chance of condensing the eternal world spirit. Yi Tian was reluctant to use so many resources, and now leaving them to Xiao Yu could help her increase her breakthrough success rate. Put in the outside world, these resources are enough to make high-level world gods go crazy and fight desperately. After all, these resources are useful to high-level world gods, and almost all of them are resources that are difficult to find. Let's start. Xiao Yu began to condense the 7th perfect level eternal world spirit. Various resources were swallowed and refined by her to help herself condense the eternal world spirit. In this way, time passed slowly. During this period, Xiao Yu's aura was unstable several times, and the eternal world spirit seemed to be shattered at any time. But in the end, Xiao Yu's luck was still very good and she successfully stabilized. After a long period of time, Xiao Yu's eternal world spirit was completely condensed without any problems. Seeing this, Yi Tian knew that his wife's breakthrough process was 100% successful, and the subsequent process would be a breakthrough and transformation process. Chapter 3084 The 3 High-Level World Gods of the Human Race. Soon, Xiao Yu began to make a formal breakthrough, and the eternal world spirit was officially conceived. The eternal Tao seed crossed the level, but it was still weak. After all, in order to breed the eternal world spirit, the eternal Tao seed was absorbed too much power. However, her physical body began to transforming from a middle-level world god's body to a high-level world god's body. However, since the eternal Tao seed has not yet recovered, his combat effectiveness has not improved much in a short period of time, and he is in a relatively weak state. This is the resource she used to help breed the eternal world spirit. Otherwise, the eternal Tao seed will be even weaker, and its combat effectiveness will even be worse than before the breakthrough. Another period of time passed before Xiao Yu's breakthrough was officially completed, but he was still unable to fight in a short period of time. It would take a long time for the eternal Tao to recover before he could truly reach the high-level cultivation of the eternal realm of gods. 647 inches, UAA, you have just made a breakthrough. Next, restore the eternal Tao seed here. Yi Tian warned. Husband, I know, Xiao Yu responded. After Xiao Yu's breakthrough, her daughter Yi Xingyu also tempered the eternal Tao seed to the limit of the middle-level peak of the eternal world god realm, and could also challenge the high-level world god cultivation level. Ever since, Yi Tian also gave a lot of resources to his daughter Yi Xingyu. These resources are no less than those of his wife Xiao Yu, and Yi Tian also personally guards Yi Xingyu and assists her in making breakthroughs. But Yi Tian is not completely sure whether Yi Xingyu can break through successfully. Soon, Yi Xingyu began to condense the 7th eternal world spirit. At first, Yi Xingyu's condensation of the eternal world spirit was extremely smooth, but at the most critical moment, a medical error occurred. Click, along with a crisp sound of shattering, the eternal world spirit that Yi Xingyu had condensed and was about to be completed shattered. This fragmentation represents the failure of Yi Xingyu's breakthrough process. Immediately afterwards, Yi Xingyu's eternal Tao seed became extremely weak, and cracks appeared. Puff! Yi Xingyu vomited blood and cracked all over his body, which showed how serious the impact of this failed breakthrough was. Yi Tian immediately took action to stabilize Yi Xingyu's injury. Xingyu, take the healing treasure to stabilize the injury. Yi Tian shouted. Yi Xingyu's face was filled with disappointment. This was the first time her breakthrough failed, and it caused such serious consequences. But she still listened to her father's words and immediately took out a bunch of healing resources, swallowed them and refined them to restore her injuries. As for the injury of the eternal Tao seed, it can only be stabilized at present. It will take too long to recover. Within hundreds of billions of eternal Tao era years, she will not be able to attack the high-level realm of the eternal world god again. After learning that Yi Xingyu's breakthrough failed, Xiao Yu and Yi Xingchen immediately came over and comforted her. Yi Xingyu didn't feel sad for long. She quickly recovered her mood and devoted herself to the cultivation process of restoring the eternal Tao seed. Anyway, the human race doesn't need her to worry about it. Her failure to break through will not have much impact on the human race. However, Yi Xingyu's failure to break through made Yi Xingchen nervous. He was worried that he would also fail to break through. After all, theoretically speaking, it is more difficult for him to hit the bottleneck, and the success rate may be lower. After all, his foundation is stronger and the bottleneck is more stubborn. After another period of time passed, Yi Xingchen finally raised the eternal Tao seed to the limit of the peak of the eternal world god and the middle-level world god, and could also attack the high-level world god cultivation level. However, he came to Yi Tian to talk about this breakthrough. Father, I am preparing to attack the high-level world gods, but I am not sure. Yi Xingchen said. Xingchen, although your sister failed to break through, she just had bad luck. In fact, your breakthrough success rate is still 50%. The success rate of other intermediate world gods' breakthrough is not even 10%, not even 1%. Your success rate is already many times that of theirs, there is no need to be nervous. Yi Tian comforted. Under Yi Tian's persuasion, Yi Xingchen gradually regained his confidence. Afterwards, Yi Tian gave resources to Yi Xingchen, asking Yi Xingchen to attack the bottleneck and condense the 7th perfect level eternal world spirit. Yi Xingchen began to attack the bottleneck to cultivate and condense the 7th perfect level eternal world spirit. After all, Yi Xingchen was still slightly affected by Yi Xingyu's failure to break through. Even though he regained his confidence, he still almost made mistakes several times during the process of condensing the 7th perfect level eternal world spirit, and his whole body was shaking. Obviously, the breakthrough process not very smooth 0. However, he has not yet made such a serious mistake as a breakthrough failure. In this way, Yi Xingchen made breakthroughs and overcame difficulties time and time again. Yi Tian has been observing, frowning from time to time. He thinks that Yi Xingchen is very likely to fail to break through if he continues like this. He is even prepared for Yi Xingkang to fail to break through. But gradually, Yi Xingchen's 7th perfect level eternal world spirit unexpectedly successfully condensed. It's done. Yi Tian was a little surprised. This was an unexpected success. After the eternal world spirit was successfully condensed, Yi Xingchen also breathed a sigh of relief, and gradually allowed the eternal Tao seed and physical body to transform, and his cultivation level officially broke through, from the middle-level world god breakthrough in the eternal world god realm to the high-level world god cultivation in the eternal world god realm. 4. Like his mother Xiao Yu, he was very weak after his breakthrough, but his face showed an extremely excited look. Because he officially broke through and became a high-level world god in the eternal world god realm, he is a top existence in the Dongwu realm. In the following days, Yi Xingchen and Xiao Yu worked hard to restore the eternal Tao seed. Every moment, their strength is increasing, or in other words, they are recovering. 10 billion to the Tao era. 20 billion to the Tao era. 30 billion to the Tao era. 5.18 billion to the Tao era. After such a long time passed, Xiao Yu's eternal Tao seed was the first to recover, and he could truly be regarded as a high-level world god in the eternal world god realm. His combat power was extremely powerful, no less than a person who condensed 8 eternal world spirits. High-level world god. Not long after, Yi Xingchen also restored the eternal Tao seed. His combat power was more powerful, between the high-level world gods who condensed 8 eternal world spirits and 9 eternal world spirits. It can be said that Yi Xingchen's combat power is only weaker than that of Ji Yuya world god, and he can crush many high-level sea gods. The human race has already gathered 3 high-level world gods. Next, it only needs to gather 10 intermediate and peak world gods of the eternal world god realm to advance the human race to a top force. Yi Tian thought to himself. Chapter 3085 The Gap Between the Human Race. It is not easy to gather 10 intermediate world gods with peak cultivation in the intermediate world god realm. It requires unimaginable time and resources, and is even more expensive than cultivating one's own wife and children. Therefore, Yi Tian could only take his time and not rush. In fact, those top forces will not cultivate middle-level world gods. They will let those middle-level world gods work hard on their own and go to the outside world to find opportunities or fight with demon species. The result of this is that many middle-level world gods have fallen, but as long as a middle-level peak world god can be born, it will not be a loss. If a high-level world god can be born, it will be a huge profit. But the human race's mid-level world gods are too rare, and they cannot withstand such losses. Fortunately, the human race's eternal kingdom has increased by tens of thousands in the eternal kingdom, causing the human race's resources to skyrocket. It is enough to at least cultivate ordinary world gods with these resources. Before you know it, another 100 billion Zidao-era years have passed. Daughter Yi Xingyu has not yet recovered from her injuries and is temporarily unable to attack the high-level world gods. However, during this period of time, many world gods were born in the human race, and several intermediate world gods were also born. Moreover, the death zone in the eternal realm has been greatly reduced. According to estimates, the eternal border has now restored approximately 1,000th of its territory, which is already an extremely vast territory. Nowadays, almost all of these territories have been invaded by the top forces in the realm of world gods. They have sent world gods in a large number of eternal realms to occupy them, build ancient cities, and divide the territory. Anyway, the territory is vast, and they will not compete with each other. After all, they are some ordinary resources, not resources that are precious enough to make even the top forces excited, so naturally they will not fight. Human race, this side of the Endless Kingdom Alliance. The surrounding death zones were also transformed successfully, and Yi Tian also took the opportunity to let a large number of Eternal Realm build cities in the surrounding areas, expanding the actual territory of the Endless Kingdom Alliance by more than 10 times, forming an extremely vast territory. The same is true for the eternal kingdom of the human race in other territories, occupying an increasingly wider area. This day, a world god from the human race reported to Yi Tian about the situation in the eternal kingdom. Ancestor, a gap has appeared near the sea and mountain kingdom. The human world god reported. Boundary seam, are you sure? Yi Tian was shocked. Okay, the world god responded. Yi Tian pondered, this was not ordinary news. There was no boundary seam before the eternal kingdom. At most, there was the projection of the demonic abyss. But now there are boundary seams. This means that more and more boundary seams will appear in the future. The Sea Mountain Kingdom is an eternal kingdom of the human race. It has only been established for a short time. It is relatively far away from the human race's Endless Kingdom Alliance and there are not many spring gods guarding it. Did the word get out? Yi Tian asked. The world god shook his head. Ancestor, the news hasn't spread yet. After discovering it, several world gods from our human race sealed the place. Even other human races didn't know about it and reported it immediately. Okay, I'll go over and take a look, Yi Tian said. The country of sea and mountains. Yi Tian came here and found the gap. Several world gods guarding this seam. After seeing Yi Tian, they immediately said respectfully, I have met the ancestor. You haven't gone in, have you? Yi Tian asked. Ancestor, our strength is very weak and we dare not enter the boundary gap. They had also heard about the boundary seam, and knew that the terrifying thing on the other side of the boundary seam was connected to the demon seed abyss. No one knew how many demon seeds there would be here, and they were worried about the demon seeds coming in, so they informed Yi Tian immediately. In their opinion, only Ancestor Yi Tian can handle this matter. You guys stay here, I'll go in and take a look. Yi Tian stepped into this gap in one step. As soon as he entered this boundary gap, a supreme power suppressed him. This is the entire world suppressing his strength. In this regard, Yi Tian does not find it strange at all. In fact, the world seam does not suppress the strength of the middle world gods, but it suppresses the strength of the high-level world gods, even more than the world seam suppresses. After all, in terms of level, the seam is even lower than the world of seam. In such a low-level place, when a high-level world god comes in, it would be strange not to suppress it. Moreover, the resources of the seam are far less than those of the seam. The resources of the seam can be bred quickly, but the resources of the seam cannot be bred quickly. That is to say, the value of the initial boundary seam is higher. Once it is almost mined, the value of the boundary seam will be low. When Yi Tian entered here, a mid-level demon appeared and attacked Yi Tian. No, it's a high-level world god, run away. These mid-level demons are not stupid either, but they don't think they can surround Yi Tian, a high-level ghost. Even if the strength of the high-level world god is suppressed, it is still more powerful than the mid-level peak demon species. And most of them are just ordinary mid-level demon species, how dare they surround and kill Yi Tian? However, with a thought in Yi Tian's mind, the heaven and earth were imprisoned, and the bodies of these mid-level demons seemed to be frozen. Then, Yi Tian held his right hand empty. The bodies of the mid-level demons exploded, and their resources automatically flew into Yi Tian's hands, where they were collected by Yi Tian. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to explore this boundary. This world seam should have been born not long ago, and the resources are 950. Although they are not of much use to me, many of the resources here are useful to the intermediate world gods. Yi Tian murmured. He plans to clean up the demon species here, kill the demon species in the demon seed abyss so that they dare not step here casually, and then let the human world gods enter here to harvest resources. Yi Tian was very fast, constantly shuttling back and forth, and killing demons when they encountered them. Soon, the news spread, and many demon species were frightened and retreated. After a while, Yi Tian came from this boundary field. Then, he let many world gods of the human race enter this world rift, and built a base in the world rift for rest, healing and residence. And, Yi Tian also asked the middle-level world gods of the human race to enter here, so that they could resist the middle-level demon species. After all, Yi Tian will not waste a replica body and guard this place all the time. Certainly, if there is a problem here, he will still come over as soon as possible. At the beginning, many world gods were worried about encountering demons and being killed by demons. However, as many human world gods found good things, other world gods were also moved and applied to enter this world rift. In this way, this world seam is continuously harvested by the human world gods for resources, and these resources can not only enhance their strength, but also cultivate more world gods for the human race. Chapter 3086 The next strategy of the human race. Since this is just a boundary gap, after the demon seed abyss has suffered continuous losses, it will not send a large number of demon seeds in, otherwise it will not be cost-effective. After all, the number of demon seeds is not infinite, and once lost, it is not easy to replenish them. Especially mid-level demon species, for many demon species forces, they are also an intermediate force and cannot be lost easily. Therefore, gradually, the demon seed abyss also gave up on this boundary rift. Occasionally, some demon species entered this boundary rift to look for resources. It is estimated that they were demon species with no power background and did not understand the situation of this boundary rift at all. Then he dared to break in. For the human race, it is equivalent to taking this boundary seam into their pocket. After occupying this boundary seam, the human race also built a fortress at the entrance of this boundary seam and sent world gods to guard it. This was also to prevent world gods from other forces from entering here and blocking the news here. Some boundary seams are open, but some boundary seams do not need to be open. Like the boundary rift in Momon's territory, in addition to Momon, many medium forces also entered it. This was because it was difficult for a single force to resist the demon species in the boundary rift, so many forces were allowed to enter together. But now, the human race has enough strength to occupy this boundary seam, and naturally will not give other forces a chance to enter. Just like the top forces such as the Dongwu Jiyu sect, which completely occupied the Dongwu seam, they did not give the powerful forces a chance to enter before, but later they could not withstand the attacks of the demon species, so they allowed the powerful forces to participate, but also after expelling the powerful forces, Sifu did not give him a chance. This is the advantage of being strong. You can do whatever you want. The weak have no right to resist. Since occupying this boundary seam, Yi Tian has also begun to ask other human world gods to find more boundary seams. He believes that there will definitely be more and more boundary seams in the Eternal Kingdom in the future. Only by occupying some boundary seams first can he get more. It would be even better if we discovered a brand new world of seams. However, the current strength of the human race is not qualified to occupy a boundary. Once those top forces know about it, they will definitely snatch it or get involved. The Human Temple. Yi Tian convened many world gods from the human race to start a meeting. However, those who are qualified to participate in this meeting are elementary world gods, intermediate world gods and even high-level world gods. Ordinary world gods are not even qualified to participate. I've met my ancestor, all the human world gods said with great respect. Many of these world gods are descendants of Yi Tian. Even if they are not from the Yi family, they still have the blood of the Yi family. This is normal. After all, the blood of the Yi family is spread throughout the human race. I don't know how many Yi family members there are. When a daughter of the family gets married, the bloodline naturally spreads. Moreover, Yi Tian is extremely powerful, which makes these bloodlines extremely powerful, making it easier for world gods to be born. Therefore, most of the world gods here are more or less related to Yi Tian, and the resources for their cultivation are almost all given by the human race, and the human race's resources are also obtained by Yi Tian's hard work. Because of this, these world gods worshipped and respected Yi Tian extremely. Seeing that these world gods had almost arrived, the meeting began. Everyone, the definite news now is that the Eternal Kingdom will be restored, and the Death Zone will be transformed into a normal territory. By then, the Eternal Kingdom will be no less than the realm of the gods, and even to a certain extent will gradually surpass the realm of the gods. Yi Tian said. These world gods naturally knew about this matter, so they were not surprised. Yi Tian continued. Over the years, the foundation of our human race has been transferring to the realm of gods. This was not wrong before, but now it is not suitable to continue to transfer power to the realm of gods. Moreover, in the realm of realms, our territory is too small, and it is already the limit to obtain a dozen eternal kingdoms. If we continue to transfer the eternal kingdoms, there will be no suitable territory for settlement. Therefore, I think whether it is possible to transfer the realm gods from the realm gods back. The focus in the future cultivate an eternal kingdom with eternal borders. Ancestor, I think we can really focus on developing the eternal kingdom of the human race in the eternal kingdom. We already have tens of thousands of eternal kingdoms in the eternal kingdom and other wider territories. This has laid a solid foundation. Once the eternal kingdom is completely restored, our human race will really take off, said a human race world god. Immediately, other human world gods expressed their opinions one after another, and only a few world gods objected. The reason why these opposing world gods are opposed is that they have established themselves in the realm of gods and have transferred all their relatives to the realm of gods. They are developing well and do not want to return to the eternal realm for the time being. However, most of the world gods agree, and there is no need to pay attention to the objections of a few. In the continuous discussion, Yi Tian formulated the next development strategy of the human race. The first focus is naturally to vigorously cultivate the eternal kingdom of the human race in the eternal realm and transfer the great star realm god back. Okay, that's it, let's do this next. If you encounter a small problem, solve it yourself. If you can't solve the problem, come back to me. Yi Tian ordered. Yes, ancestor, many world gods responded. Years passed, and another 10 million years of the Tao era passed. At this time, 1% of the death zone has been transformed into normal territory. 1% of the eternal kingdom has returned to normal, and it can already accommodate countless forces. Therefore, some top forces are also preparing to relocate some creatures on a large scale and enter the eternal realm. The top of the human temple. Yi Tian frowned slightly at this moment. In recent times, many powerful forces have dared to cause trouble for the human race. Good money. These powerful forces have no foundation at all in the eternal kingdom, so there are many unknown territories that can be occupied by them. However, they entered the country late, and the good places are occupied by top forces. In addition, the human race occupies a lot of territory, many times wider than the territories occupied by many top forces. As a result, these powerful forces became jealous and wanted to directly occupy the territory of the human race, so that the creatures under their command could directly enter these eternal kingdoms without the need for development. However, after his son Yi Xingqian showed the strength of a high-level world god, these powerful forces were frightened and apologized one by one. But Yi Tian knew very well that these powerful forces were afraid of the human race, but some top forces were absolutely not afraid of the human race, and even dared to attack the human race directly. At that time, the human race will definitely conflict with one or even several top forces. Chapter 3087 Heavenly Fire God Alliance. If there is really a top force that dares to attack the human race, then don't blame me for being rude. Yi Tian secretly said. Anyway, his strength is enough to match the high-level peak world god who condenses 9 eternal world spirits, and he also has multiple replica bodies, which is equivalent to multiple high-level peak world gods. Except for a few extremely powerful top forces, he is almost not afraid of these top forces. Of course, if the supreme force attacks the human race, it will be almost impossible for him to resist. But the supreme power will not look at the territories of the human race at all, and it is impossible to take action against the human race. Time flies. Unknowingly, a long period of time passed. During this period, the eternal kingdom was in chaos, and many forces were fighting and secretly taking action to seize territory. Of course, the major forces only clashed on a small scale, and it would not lead to a full-scale battle over some territory, which would cause great losses. After all, the current territory of the eternal border is just an ordinary territory. It has not yet bred a top treasure land, and there is not even an entrance to the boundary of the seam. There is no need to fight for some ordinary territories. But, the resources of the human race's eternal kingdom are increasing. After all, many of the human race's eternal kingdoms were first established in the first batch of reversed 587 eternal kingdoms. Now the resources in these territories have increased, and treasure lands have been born one after another. It is comparable to many eternal kingdoms or much better. It is precisely because of this that the human race was finally targeted by the top forces. The realm of the gods. Fire Phoenix Realm, Heavenly Fire God Alliance. This is a top force in the Fire Phoenix Realm, and the Fire Phoenix Realm is much stronger than the Dongwu Realm. It has more than 30 top forces in total. The Sky Fire God Alliance is one of the top forces and has many high-level world gods. Nowadays, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance is eyeing the territory of the human race. In fact, the eternal kingdoms of the human race are in a better position. Moreover, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance did not send world gods to guard the eternal border at the beginning. It was mainly because they were delayed by other things. They did not participate in the division of the eternal border immediately, but they entered the field. Therefore, they want to directly occupy a good territory. At this time, the high-level world gods of the Skyfire God Alliance are discussing this matter. The person presiding over this meeting was the leader of the Skyfire God Alliance, the high-level peak world god, Tianfeng world god. Everyone, our Heavenly Fire God Alliance has been slow to enter the Eternal Kingdom. Now I suggest that we directly occupy a good territory as the territory of the future Eternal Border Heavenly Fire God Alliance branch. As a top force, it would be too much if there is no good territory. It's embarrassing, Tianfeng Sishan said. Tianfeng Realm God, I propose to occupy part of the human race's territory. A high-level world god said. According to my understanding, the human race is just a powerful force. Although there are high-level world gods, they have not yet reached the standards of a top power. They are considered a quasi-top power, but they have tens of thousands in the Eternal Kingdom, an Eternal Kingdom and a host of other realms. Tens of thousands of Eternal Kingdoms. Why do they have so many Eternal Kingdoms? Even if the first batch enters the scene, they won't be able to snatch so many Eternal Kingdoms, right? No, the human race did not seize the Eternal Kingdom, but directly opened it up. They don't know where they obtained a large number of Eternal Kingdom orders, and they are also a force in the Eternal Kingdom. This is why they can open up so many Eternal Kingdoms, and seize the opportunity and occupy a large amount of territory first. No matter where the territory of the human race comes from, the problem now is that their strength is not worthy of having so much territory. The territory of a mere powerful force is more than that of the top forces. This is unreasonable. Other top forces do not care about the human race, but we have to take care of it. Then occupy 70% of the human race's territory and give them 30% of the territory, which is enough for them to live. The human race will definitely not agree, so send some high-level world gods to the human race and have a good talk with them. What if they don't agree? Don't agree, then make them agree, Afad. As a top force, the Jieting headquarters will not care about our behavior. It is impossible for the Jieting headquarters to help a powerful force punish the top forces. Immediately, they discussed and decided to send 11 high-level world gods to the human territory. Moreover, 3 high-level world gods who condensed 8 eternal world spirits were dispatched. Such a scale is enough to easily destroy ordinary top forces. The alliance of endless realms of humanity. This is the center of the human race in the eternal realm. Many ghosts and gods stay here. Suddenly, the void split open, and the auras of high-level world gods filled the air. For the first time, Yi Tian, Yi Xingchen, and Yi Xingyu all sensed the auras of these high-level world gods. Yi Tian sensed these high-level world gods, but smiled slightly, and immediately asked his son Yi Xingchen to handle the matter. After all, the one with the highest cultivation level among these high-level world gods has condensed 8 eternal world spirits. This strength is not enough for him to come forward. The problem can be solved by asking his son to come forward. Wow, Yi Xingchen crossed over in one step and intercepted these high-level world gods of the Skyfire God Alliance. Are you Yi Tian? Asked the Hell God of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance, but soon he realized that this was probably not Yi Tian. After a little deduction, he knew that this should be another high-level human world god, Yi Xingchen. Yi Xingchen said, I am Yi Xingchen of the human race, the son of Yi Tian. Where is your father? Let him come out, God from the prison realm said proudly. Yi Xingchen smiled and said, everyone, if you have any questions, just come to me. My father is still practicing in seclusion, so I won't see you. Presumptuous, these high-level world gods roared. With so many high-level world gods coming to the human race, Yi Tian from the human race still dare not come. This is because they look down on their Skyfire God Alliance. As for why you can't come out of seclusion, being a fool is an excuse. At this moment, they have decided that this time they will not only take 70% of the territory, but 80% of the territory to let the human race know the consequences of offending the Skyfire God Alliance. Boom, these high-level world gods showed their auras one after another and oppressed Yi Xingchen. Yi Xingchen, whether your father comes out or not, we are high-level world gods from the Skyfire God Alliance. We are here to inform you that you humans must give up 80% of your territory to us, the Skyfire God Alliance. The Hell World God and other high-level world gods said coldly. 80% of the territory is given to you. Yi Xingchen laughed as if he had heard the biggest joke. Why do you think so? With our strength, these high-level world gods are very capable of taking action. However, Yi Xingchen was not afraid at all. Although he was not as powerful as his father Yi Tian, these high-level world gods could not deal with him. Chapter 3088 The world gods ran away in despair. All high-level world gods from the Heavenly Fire God Alliance, please leave. Yi Xingchen expelled. However, these high-level world gods of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance were unmoved, and they would not leave directly. Capture him directly, the Hell God said. Boom. These high-level world gods suppressed Yi Xingchen with their momentum, while the Hellfire ghosts and gods took action directly. In his opinion, his own action is enough to capture Yi Xingchen, and other high-level world gods can assist him to prevent Yi Xingchen from escaping. But soon, the Hell God was confused. I saw that the Hell God's blow did not break Yi Xingchen's defense. Even though he did not attack with all his strength, he was still a high-level world god who condensed 8 eternal world spirits. He was unable to do anything to condense 7 of them into one. The high-level world god of the eternal world spirit. Too weak, Yi Xingchen sneered. Immediately afterwards, he fought with the Hell God, and injured the Hell God with just one move. In terms of strength, Yi Xingchen's combat power is invincible among the high-level world gods who have condensed 8 eternal world gods. Only a high-level world god who has condensed 9 eternal world spirits can defeat him. Go together, the god of hell shouted. These high-level world gods took action together to besiege Yi Xingchen. Rumble, Yi Xingchen fell into a hard fight for a while. After all, his strength was not much stronger than the Hell World God, and there were more than one high-level world god like the Hell World God, plus other high-level world gods. It is not easy for him to defeat these high-level world gods. However, these high-level world gods could not do anything to him. They kept fighting, and the fluctuations spread, attracting the attention of many human world gods. But this group of human world gods dare not intervene. After all, their strength is too weak. They are no match for high-level world gods. They are not even qualified to intervene. A slight fluctuation can crush their bodies and kill them in front of them. However, many world gods contacted Yi Tian and reported the information. Of course, these world gods also know very well that it is impossible for Yi Tian not to notice such a battle, but the necessary procedures must still be done. Yi Tian naturally knew about this battle and observed it secretly, but did not take action. His son Yi Xingchen is strong enough to handle this battle, he can just watch. As time passed, high-level world gods began to be injured in the Skyfire God Alliance, and the injuries were not serious. You retreat. The Hell Gods and others asked the weaker high-level world gods to retreat. Otherwise, if a few high-level world gods fell, it would be a huge loss. Even if they occupy these human territories, they would not be able to make up for the losses. Wow wow wow, a high-level world god from the Heavenly Fire God Alliance retreated, and the remaining high-level world gods lost these helpers, and it would be difficult to compete with Yi Xingchen. Finally, the gods of the Hell World retreated. Walk. These high-level world gods disappeared in the blink of an eye. After the high-level world gods of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance left, Yi Xingchen also shuttled to Yi Tian. Father, the high-level world gods of the Celestial God Alliance have retreated. Yi Xingchen said, I know that I have to be careful next time. The Skyfire God Alliance has been embarrassed this time. It may not just let it go. It is very likely that it will happen again. Yi Tian guessed. Father, if the Heavenly Fire God Alliance comes again, I will definitely defeat them again. Yi Xingchen said confidently. No, the next time they come, they will most likely send a high-level peak world god who has condensed 9 eternal world spirits. You are no match for such a world god. Yi Tian reminded. If such a high-level peak world god really comes, then only my father will take action himself. Yi Xingchen said quickly. Later, Yi Tian asked Yi Xingchen to go down. The realm of the gods. Headquarters of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. At this moment, the Hell God and the others came back. They were extremely angry and immediately reported the matter to the Tianfeng Realm God. Tianfeng Realm God, we were defeated by the human race. Yi Xingchen, a high-level realm god of the human race, can compete with us on his own and even have a certain advantage. Said the Hell Realm God. Yi Xingchen, who is this guy and has he got this strength? The gods of Tianfeng Realm were shocked. Yi Xingchen is the son of Yi Tian, the leader of the human race. We didn't investigate his strength before, but we didn't expect that he could fight against us with the strength of 7 eternal ghosts. The Hell God was also extremely surprised. Tianfeng Realm God frowned slightly. Yi Xingchen, this son's eternal world spirit is most likely a perfect level eternal world spirit, otherwise it would be impossible to fight beyond the level 0. Please give me flowers. The inheritance of the perfect level eternal world spirit is so rare, and only the supreme power has such an inheritance. Why would the human race have such an inheritance? They were extremely surprised. It's just a guess now, but this possibility is very high. According to my understanding, Yi Tian's strength is not weak, and he can also fight beyond the level. Therefore, it is very likely that the human race has the inheritance of the perfect eternal Tao seed, and even more a perfect and eternal world spirit. Tianfang Realm God said, if the human race really has a perfect eternal world spirit inheritance, can this inheritance continue to be passed on? If it can, then it can be taken over. The gods of the hell world were moved. 0. They only heard that the perfect eternal world spirit is very powerful, but how specific it is, they have to practice it themselves to know. I'll do it myself, Tianfang Realm God said. After all, the gods of the hell realm and others failed in their attempts. If he didn't take action, he wouldn't be able to defeat the human race at all. If you, Heavenly Phoenix Realm God, take action, the human race will definitely be defeated. The hell god said, the human race is a powerful force after all, so this matter cannot make too much of a fuss. You also ask the Jieting headquarters to suppress the impact of this matter and don't let it spread, otherwise it will appear that our Heavenly Fire God Alliance is bullying the small. Tianfang the world god warned. Yes, many high-level world gods responded. Subsequently, Tianfang Realm God took a dozen high-level realm gods to the Human Race Endless Kingdom Alliance in the Eternal Realm. Not long after, Tianfang Realm God and the others arrived. But this time, it was not Yi Xingchen who stopped them, but Yi Tian. The Heavenly Fire God Alliance dares to come to the human territory. Yi Tian said coldly, you must be Yi Tianji God. Tianfang Realm God smiled, what do you do with Tianfang Realm God? Yi Tian asked after recognizing Tianfang Realm God. Tianfang Realm God saw that Yi Tian knew him, and said directly, Yi Tian Realm God, you know me, you should know my strength. I am here to do two things this time. The first is to let the human race give up 80% of the territory. The second is to let the human race give up 80% of the territory. The thing is, how much of your human race's perfect eternal world spirit should be passed down? Chapter 3089 Kill Tianfang Realm God. The perfect eternal world spirit inheritance. Yi Tian knew that the outside world would speculate that the human race had a perfect eternal world spirit inheritance, but he would definitely not admit it. So, he said, our human race does not have a perfect and eternal world spirit inheritance. As for giving up 80% of the territory, it is even more impossible. Tianfang Realm God naturally does not believe Yi Tian's words. As for whether the human race has a perfect eternal world spirit, he will know it after taking down Yi Tian. He can completely capture Yi Tian and study the eternal world spirit inside Yi Tian's eternal Taoism. There is a special way to detect whether the eternal world spirit is a perfect eternal world spirit. Yi Tian Realm God, don't blame me for taking action. Tianfang Realm God took action without saying a word. The other high-level world gods of the Sky Fire God Alliance retreated so as not to interfere with the battle between Tianfang World God and Yi Tian. Of course, they didn't think that Yi Tian's 0 Chi-Chi could block the Tianfang Realm God's attack. It was estimated that Yi Tian Realm God could be captured in 1 or 2 moves. However, they were soon dumbfounded. Rumble. Yi Tian and Tianfang Realm God fought, and their fighting power was almost the same. How can this be? Tianfang Realm God was shocked. Yi Tian's strength was not weaker than him, which was completely beyond his expectation. It stands to reason that a high-level world god who has condensed 7 eternal world spirits cannot be the opponent of a high-level world god who has condensed 9 eternal world spirits. The difference in strength is too big. But now, Yi Tian's strength broke his cognition. He had a guess in his mind, but he couldn't believe it. He was more inclined to believe that Yi Tian had some kind of supreme treasure that could temporarily increase his combat power, and he was not willing to believe that Yi Tian had perfect eternal Tao seeds and 7 perfect eternal realms. He has such strength because he has reached the limit every step of the way. But is this possible? Even the supreme power may not have such a high-level world god. God of Fire Realm, come and help me. Tianfang Realm God sent a message to another high-level realm god from the Skyfire God Alliance for help. This Quinhua Fire World God is also a high-level world god who has condensed 9 eternal world spirits, and his strength is even more powerful than him. Nowadays, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance has bullied the human race again and again, and it is no longer possible to reconcile. Therefore, he had a bold idea, which was to unite with the God of Fire and Fire to surround and kill Yi Tian. Such a monster enemy must not be allowed to live. Although doing this will undoubtedly make the World Court headquarters punish the Skyfire God Alliance, the price paid by the top forces to destroy a powerful force is not high. That is because the human race is very close to the top forces, so there will be punishment. If it were an ordinary powerful force, they would have no problem destroying it. Time passes slowly. Finally, the god of Fire Realm arrived. Boom! The void tore open, and the god of Fire Realm finally arrived. Greetings to the god of Fire Realm. The root gods all said respectfully. The Quinoa Fire Realm God is a high-level peak realm god hidden by the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. He is usually very low-key and always guards a treasured place. If it were not for the help of the Tianfeng Realm God, he would not be able to come here. Seeing the arrival of Quinoa Fire Realm God, Tianfeng Realm God breathed a sigh of relief and immediately shouted, "Chihuo Realm God, join me to surround and kill Yi Tian Realm God." Good. The god of Fire Realm responded and immediately killed Yi Tian. With the addition of the Quinoa Fire Realm God, Yi Tian was instantly at a disadvantage. Moreover, the god of Fire Realm is more powerful. If this continues, Yi Tian will be injured soon. Qinha, fight with all your strength, we must not let such an enemy escape. Tianfeng Realm God sent a message. Then work hard. The Quinoa Fire Realm God is also very clear that once a realm god like Yi Tian escapes this time, all he needs to do is condense an eternal world spirit, and the entire Sky Fire God Alliance will be unable to do anything to Yi Tian, and may even be destroyed by Yi Tian. So, they absolutely don't allow this to happen. Eternal Realm Fire Technique. Boom! Endless flames enveloped Yi Tian, which was also a very powerful eternal world spirit technique. However, Yi Tian had no idea of escaping and even smiled. Seeing Yi Tian's smile, the god of Fire Realm instinctively sensed the slightest hint of danger. Are these two high-level peak world gods in your Heavenly Fire God Alliance? Yi Tian's voice came out. The Fire Realm God and the Tianfeng Realm God felt something was wrong. Yi Tian was too calm, as if they were the ones at the disadvantage, not Yi Tian. Suddenly, the expressions of other high-level world gods changed drastically, and one after another copy of Yi Tian appeared around them. It's a clone. Quinoa Fire Realm God's expression changed. Tianfeng Realm God had heard that Yi Tian Realm God had a clone, but he didn't care about it. After all, the clone was definitely not as powerful as the main body. It didn't have too strong combat power, and it definitely couldn't fight beyond the level, so there was no need to care. But now, he knows that he underestimated Yi Tian. Boom! Several copies of Yi Tian's bodies all participated, showing extremely powerful combat power. Each copy of the body had exactly the same combat power. This is a clone. Both the Quinoa Fire Realm God and the Tianfeng Realm God were stunned. These are simply their true bodies. If they had known that Yi Tian was so powerful, how could they dare to provoke the human race? Retreat! The god of Fire and Fire shouted. The high-level world gods of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance wanted to escape, but the surrounding void instantly shook, and these high-level world gods were locked by a terrifying domain force. Bang bang bang! The bodies of these high-level world gods exploded one by one. Their strength was too weak and they could not stop Yi Tian's domain power at all. Immediately afterwards, the Tianyan Red Dragon Flame burned their shattered bodies into ashes, killing these high-level world gods one by one. Yi Tian, the Fire Realm God and the Tianfeng Realm God were extremely angry. 3.0. These are all high-level world gods. Every time one is lost, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance will suffer heavy losses. But now they have lost so many high-level world gods. This is an irreconcilable feud. However, what they really need to worry about at the moment is themselves, and Yi Tian will not let them go. At this time, Yi Tian was also trying his best to burn the Eternal Tao Seed. One of the cloned bodies was holding the Tianyan Spear, the Supreme Realm weapon, to fight against the God of Fire and the others. Time gradually passed, and the Fire God and others were seriously injured, and they were entangled in several copies of Yi Tian's bodies, unable to escape at all. I don't know how much time passed, but Tianfeng Realm God finally couldn't bear it anymore. His body was pierced by Yi Tian's Tianyan Spear, and his vitality gradually disappeared. In the end, Tianfeng Realm God fell. Chapter 3090 The Anger of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. Tianfeng Realm God. The Fire Realm God is extremely sad at the moment. He has a very good relationship with the Tianfeng Realm God. It can even be said that he was trained by the Tianfeng Realm God. In the end, his strength surpassed the Tianfeng Realm God. Because of their existence, the powerful Heavenly Fire God Alliance has been developed and ranked among the top forces. But now, a mistake has provoked the human race, causing the fall of the Tianfeng Realm God and the fall of other high-level realm gods. Even, he may not be able to survive this moment. The God of Fire and Fire was extremely desperate, but he also knew that Yi Tian could not let him go. The fight had reached this level and it was already a fight to the death. Therefore, he did not beg for mercy, which made no sense. Boom! The Fire World God broke out frantically, but Yi Tian had many clones and many methods, completely trapping him. Gradually, Yuanhua Realm God could no longer hold on. In the end, the God of Fire Realm also fell into Yi Tian's hands. After killing these two high-level peak world gods, Yi Tian took away the Supreme World Soldiers from them. These two high-level peak world gods are rich in wealth. They only have 4 or 5 Supreme World Soldiers. Among these 5 Supreme Realm Soldiers, there are defensive Supreme Realm Soldiers and offensive Supreme Realm Soldiers. Although there were some injuries during the battle, the damage was not serious and could be fully recovered. After having these Supreme Realm Soldiers, Yi Tian's strength will inevitably increase after refining them. However, at his current strength, having 1 more Supreme Realm Soldier and 1 less Supreme Realm Soldier would not increase his strength much. Only after the high-level world gods of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance fell, did the human world gods dare to come over. Ancestor, these world gods said respectfully. At this moment, they looked at Yi Tian with great admiration. They did not expect that so many high-level world gods would be killed by Yi Tian. How terrifying is this level of strength? Of course, the stronger Yi Tian is, the safer they will be, and they will get more benefits and blessings. Dispose of the corpses of these high-level world gods and restore the surrounding environment. Yi Tian ordered. Yes, many human world gods responded. Immediately, Yi Tian returned to the human temple of the human race Endless Kingdom Alliance. At this time, Yi Xingqian came. Father, Yi Xingqian shouted. Xingqian, so many high-level world gods from the Skyfire God Alliance have fallen, and 2 high-level peak world gods have fallen. This incident has a great impact. However, they invaded our human race, so after they were killed, the World Court headquarters will not the human race, may be punished, but we, the human race, are completely at odds with the Skyfire God Alliance. Yi Xingqian asked in confusion. Father, it seems that the Skyfire God Alliance only has 2 high-level peak world gods. These 2 high-level peak world gods have fallen, and the Skyfire God Alliance cannot threaten us. We don't need to be afraid of the Skyfire God Alliance. Bar. Yi Tian shook his head and said, we cannot underestimate the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. The Heavenly Fire God Alliance has at least dozens of high-level world gods. Even if there is no high-level peak world god, there are 8 high-level world gods who have condensed the eternal world spirits. There are at least 6 or 7 more. Furthermore, the Jieding headquarters will definitely intervene, and it is impossible for me to destroy the Skyfire God Alliance. Any top force will be protected by the Jieding headquarters, and they will not allow a top force to be destroyed so easily. Under the circumstances that the Skyfire God Alliance cannot be destroyed, the Skyfire God Alliance uses the influence of the top forces to suppress our human race without any problem. Yi Xingqian understood. It is true that the Heavenly Fire God Alliance cannot kill the human race, but the human race cannot kill the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. In terms of influence, there are countless powerful forces under the Heavenly Fire God Alliance, but there is nothing under the human race. Once the Heavenly Fire God Alliance suppresses the human race, it will cause a lot of trouble for the human race. Father, what should we do? Yi Xingqian asked. Yi Tian pondered for a while and said, I'm not worried about myself and you, but for ordinary humans, the suppression of the Skyfire God Alliance is indeed a trouble, but as long as the humans advance and become the top force, in the Jieding headquarters with enough voice, even the Heavenly Fire God Alliance cannot suppress the human race, and those powerful forces dare not assist the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. But if the human race wants to advance to the top power, it is still far behind. There is no way to gather 10 mid-level peak world gods in a short time. Yi Xingqian said, focus on cultivating a group of world gods and provide unlimited resources. As for choosing which world gods, you can do it. In short, train them to the peak world god level of the intermediate world at all costs. Yi Tian ordered. Yes, father, Yi Xingqian responded. The realm of the gods. Headquarters of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. At this moment, many high-level world gods from the Heavenly Fire God Alliance gathered together, and all of them looked extremely angry. I just received the news that both the Qinhua Fire Realm God and the Tianfeng Realm God have fallen, along with a dozen high-level realm gods. Who did it? Human Yi Tian. Human race. Isn't this a powerful force? How could it be possible to do this? Human Yi Tian's strength is comparable to Tianfeng Realm God, and human Yi Tian has multiple clones that are comparable to Tianfeng Realm God. Only then did they attack and kill Tianfeng Realm God and Qinhua Fire Realm God, but Yi Tian's clones also, they are all seriously injured, and it is estimated that they will not be able to form effective combat capabilities in a short time. But even so, if we all come together, we can't do anything to Yi Tian. Report it to the World Court headquarters as soon as possible to see if the World Court headquarters can sanction the 410 human race. Immediately, the high-level world gods of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance jointly reported the matter to the World Court headquarters. Soon, the Jieding headquarters was alerted. However, Yi Tian was able to kill the Tianfeng realm god and the Qinhua fire realm god. Even so, the human race was not a top force, but it was stronger than the top forces. Many strong men in the Jieding headquarters did not want to offend Yi Tian. Therefore, the Jieding headquarters did not sanction Yi Tian, but would guarantee to negotiate with Yi Tian and reconcile with the Skyfire God Alliance. This day, the World Court headquarters dispatched a high-level world god to the Human Race Endless Kingdom Alliance to negotiate with Yi Tian. Yi Tian discussed with this high-level world god for a long time, and finally agreed to reconcile and no longer deal with the Skyfire God Alliance, and the Skyfire God Alliance would no longer invade the Human Race Endless Kingdom Alliance. But this is only a reconciliation on the surface, a secret dispute, and the Jieding headquarters cannot control it. In the days that followed, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance used its powerful forces to suppress the human race's business in all aspects, and even secretly harmed the human race's world gods. Yi Tian couldn't break into the Skyfire God Alliance, so he could only kill the world gods who attacked the human race from the Skyfire God Alliance as much as possible. Gradually, many world gods under the Heavenly Fire God Alliance have also fallen, but it is undoubtedly inappropriate to compete with the Heavenly Fire God Alliance for consumption. Therefore, Yi Tian can only hope that the 10 intermediate peak world gods of the human race will gather together and advance to the top power. Chapter 3091 About to become the top force. Another long period of time has passed. On this day, a piece of good news came. Yi Tian's daughter Yi Xingyu successfully restored the eternal Tao seed and can once again challenge the cultivation of high-level world gods. Xingyu, these resources are given to you. You have a failure experience, but the success rate of this breakthrough is still very high. Yi Tian said, Father, I will guarantee a breakthrough. Yi Xingyu said, she is very clear that every time she fails to break through, she will waste countless resources. Those resources are unimaginable by other high-level world gods. If they are used to cultivate ordinary world gods, they can cultivate a large number of ordinary world gods. Therefore, she cannot continue to waste resources. This time we must break through and succeed. Yi Xingyu secretly said. Soon, Yi Xingyu adjusted her condition and began her second attack on the realm of high-level world gods. She took various resources that were helpful in cultivating the 7th eternal world spirit, and then refined and cultivated the eternal world spirit, cultivating it bit by bit. In this way, her eternal Tao seed was absorbed by the eternal world spirit shadow, making the eternal world spirit shadow become more and more solid. I don't know how much time passed, but Yi Xingyu's eternal world spirit was finally completely formed, and the whole process was smooth without any disturbance. The breakthrough process was very smooth. Boom, Yi Xingyu's cultivation level began to change, and her physical body began to become stronger, but the weakness of the eternal Tao seed could not be recovered for the time being. It would take a period of practice to slowly restore the eternal Tao seed and survive the period of weakness. Seeing that Yi Xingyu had successfully broken through, Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief, stopped guarding her, and left silently. With Yi Xingyu's breakthrough, the human race currently has 4 high-level world gods, but the middle-level peak world gods have not yet reached 10. However, Yi Xingchen has already begun to vigorously cultivate intermediate peak world gods, and has currently selected 20 world gods, vigorously training them and providing resources at all costs. But whether these world gods can succeed in breaking through every time depends on themselves. Once the breakthrough fails, it will take a long time to restore the eternal Tao seed, and it will be impossible to continue cultivating it. Therefore, it is hard to say whether these 20 world gods will be eliminated one after another, and whether 10 intermediate peak world gods will eventually be born. Time flies. 100 billion to the Tao era. 200 billion to the Tao era. 500 billion to the Tao era. After such a long time, finally on this day, the first middle-level peak world god in the human race after Yi Tian and the others was born. Father, we have successfully trained the first intermediate peak world god. Yi Xingchen came to Yi Tian excitedly. Who is it? Yi Tian didn't pay much attention to the cultivation of these world gods, so he wasn't sure who had broken through to the intermediate peak world gods. It's your grandson Yi Shu. Yi Xingchen said. It turns out to be this little guy. Yi Tian said with a smile. Yi Xingchen gave birth to many sons, and these sons had many heirs, so there were too many Yi family members, spread all over the human race, but he still had some understanding of his grandson's generation. Yi Shu's talent potential is not the highest, and he is not among the first to break through to the realm god, but he did not expect to catch up from behind. I thought a few others would break through first, but I didn't expect that it was this little guy Yi Shu who broke through. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Yi Xingchen said, the main reason is that a few middle-level world gods who were expected to be the first to break through failed to break through when cultivating the sixth eternal world spirit. Yi Shu succeeded in breaking through all of them without a single failure. Only then can he be the first to break through. A breakthrough to the intermediate peak world god. Soon, there will be other intermediate world gods to break through to the intermediate peak world god level. Very good. Once you gather 10 intermediate peak world gods, let me know immediately. Yi Tian said. Yes. Yi Xingchen responded. In the following years, one after another mid-level peak world gods were born in the human race. The death zone in the Eternal Realm Kingdom continues to dissipate and is recovering rapidly. Today, 1/5 of the dead zone has been restored. All the forces in the entire realm of realm gods are trying to send a group of creatures and realm gods into the Eternal Realm. Even the supreme forces finally intervened, but these supreme forces did not occupy much territory. Perhaps for them, whether it is the Eternal Kingdom or the realm of the gods, the size of these territories is meaningless to them. For them, having a piece of land as a branch is enough. This day, the Jieding headquarters issued an order to allow medium and powerful forces in the realm of the realm to relocate to the Eternal Kingdom. However, once you choose to relocate, you must move everything and abandon the territory of the Jia Shen Kingdom, otherwise the relocation will not be allowed. But this rule cannot restrict the human race. After all, the human race itself has territory in 2 places. This regulation only restricts those medium-sized forces and powerful forces that are only in the realm of gods. Those powerful forces have a lot of territory in the realm of gods, and their forces are complicated. They cannot easily give up their original territories and go to the eternal realm to gain a future. Therefore, these powerful forces almost gave up this plan. But those middle-level forces do not have a large territory. If they enter the Eternal Kingdom, they will definitely be able to occupy many eternal kingdoms, which is always much more comfortable than the realm of the gods. And in the Eternal Realm, there is hope for other opportunities in the future, so you can give it a try. That's all. A large number of medium forces have entered the Eternal Realm and occupied many ownerless territories. However, there are much fewer middle-level forces in the realm of gods. WTHE Old Sun Mountain went to the eternal border. This is the news reported by the world god below. At the boundary of the realm of gods, the middle power Jiori mountain near the holy kingdom of the human race, Howli directly moved away and went to the eternal kingdom. When Yi Tian thought about it carefully, he knew why Jori mountain had to be relocated. First of all, Jori mountain has been living a shaky life near the holy kingdom of human race, fearing that it will be destroyed by the holy kingdom of human race one day, and the strength of Jiori mountain has been greatly damaged, and it is almost 10 points that it cannot even maintain the strength of a medium force. And they saw no hope at all, so they simply moved to the eternal border. Maybe there is still hope to rise. For them, the benefits of relocation are greater than now. In this regard, Yi Tian did not interfere. Anyway, he has already taught Jori mountain a lesson, and no matter how Jori mountain develops, it cannot threaten the human race. In the blink of an eye, another long period of time has passed. This day, Yi Xingchen came to find Yi Tian. Father, our human race has gathered 10 intermediate peak world gods. Yi Xingchen said excitedly. Chapter 3092 The human race has become the top force. Have you gathered 10 intermediate peak world gods? Yi Tian was very excited. He estimated that this was the time, and now he finally had it all together. Immediately, he summoned these 10 mid-level peak world gods. Soon, these 10 middle-level peak world gods are here. After Yi Tian confirmed that their cultivation levels have reached the intermediate peak level of the eternal world god realm, Yi Tian immediately contacted the Jieding headquarters to apply to become the top-level gods. Calendar. After the World Court headquarters received the news, it immediately sent high-level world gods to the human race for assessment. If the assessment passed, the human race would become the top force. Whether a force can become a top force cannot be determined casually, nor can it be decided by just a few high-level world gods. Therefore, this assessment will be constantly tested by the World Court headquarters, and it is impossible to cheat. Even if the human race bribes several high-level world gods responsible for the assessment at the World Court headquarters, it will be useless, and once discovered, the human race will never be able to become top power. However, the human race itself has the strength of a top force and has reached all standards, so naturally it is not panic at all. This day, the 3 world gods from the World Court headquarters came to the human race. 477. Chanan Realm God, the world god of Sturgeon and Shun. Tungsten Extreme Realm God. Yi Tian personally entertained these 3 high-level world gods. At this time, World God Chanan spoke. World God Yi Tian, this time the assessment is all under the test of the World Court headquarters, so it doesn't matter what is virtual. You should gather the world gods of the human race together. We need to test your human race. The world gods will conduct assessments, and only after meeting the standards will the human race be allowed to become the top force. Good. Yi Tian nodded. Immediately, he asked the human world gods to come over one after another. Among them, there are 4 high-level world gods, 10 intermediate-level peak world gods, and many intermediate world gods, elementary world gods, and ordinary world gods. Immediately, Chanan Realm God and the others asked the human realm gods to take action one after another to show their strength and ensure that these realm gods were real realm gods and not fake realm gods that were created through special means. Rumble. After these world gods took action one after another, they confirmed that it was correct. The next step is to test the strength of the 10 intermediate peak world gods. This is the most important thing. After all, the human race has just reached the standard of 10 intermediate level peak world gods. One less is not enough. If one of them does not meet the standard, then they will determine that the human race has failed the assessment. This time, Chanan World God and the others also brought some intermediate peak world gods to let them compete with each other. Result. Rumble. The human race's mid-level peak world god brought a huge shock to the Chanan world gods. Chanan Realm God also knows the human race very well. The rise time is too short. I originally thought that the human race was just to gather 10 intermediate peak world gods, spending countless resources to accumulate them, and did not care about the fundamental issues. Therefore, these 10 mid-level peak world gods are very likely to be weak, even worse than the generally weaker mid-level peak world gods. As a result, the mid-level peak gods he brought were easily defeated and swept by the human race's mid-level peak world gods. After 10 battles, the human race was completely victorious, and the mid-level peak world gods he brought ushered in a 10-game losing streak, which made the 3 high-level peak world gods a little embarrassed. Next is the assessment of the high-level peak world gods. It is still a competition to witness the strength. However, Chanan Realm God also knew that Yi Tian's strength was terrifying and did not dare to test Yi Tian's strength. The World Court headquarters will not ask for a test of Yi Tian's combat power, but will only ask for a test on other high-level human world gods. Yi Tian Realm God, please let 2 high-level human world gods take action and conduct an assessment. Xingchen, Xingyu, you 2 take action. Yi Tian shouted. Yes, Father. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu responded. Among the 3 high-level world gods who came to conduct the assessment, except Chanan World God who condensed 8 eternal world spirits, the other 2 only condensed 7 eternal world spirits. Chanan World God asked these 2 high-level world gods to test the strength of Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu, and the 2 sides began to fight. Xingchen, Xingyu, please be careful and give some face to the high-level world gods at the World Court headquarters. Yi Tian sent a message. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu naturally understood, otherwise they could defeat these 2 high-level world gods with one move. Soon, the competition has begun. In an instant, they started fighting, and throughout the whole process, they seemed to be evenly matched, but if you look closely, you can clearly see that Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu suppressed these 2 high-level world gods, and suppressed them very easily. World God Chanan did not speak, but it was obvious that Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu did not show their true strength at all, and their true strength was very powerful. If you continue to fight, it will only be embarrassing. So, he immediately said, okay, if the human race passes the assessment, let's end it. Immediately, the 2 high-level world gods at the World Court headquarters stopped, as did Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu. World God Chanan, can our human race become a top force? Yi Tian asked. Chanan Jia Shen said, there should be no problem, but whether the human race can become a top force is not something I can decide. It is decided by the Jia Ting headquarters, so I can't give a definite answer. Clear. Yi Tian nodded slightly, but as long as the requirements are met, the World Court headquarters will not deliberately let humans not advance to the top power unless sufficient reasons are given. Therefore, there is no need to worry about the advancement of the human race. Subsequently, Chanan World God and the others left the human race territory and returned to the World Court headquarters. Time passed little by little. Not long after, the reply from Jia Ting headquarters arrived. The World Court headquarters announced that the human race had become the top force and announced it to the outside world. However, the headquarters of the human race as a top force is located in the Eternal Kingdom, not the realm of gods. After all, the human race's territory in the realm of gods is too small and does not meet the standards of a top power. Currently, the human race is the only top force headquartered in the Eternal Realm. After becoming a top force, the human race can send 10 mid-level world gods to serve in the World Court headquarters, and their positions will not be low. This is the authority of the top power. In addition, the human race also has a large number of quotas to freely travel between the Eternal Realm and the realm of the gods. In addition to these, there are many beneficial resources. But the most important benefit is that the human race can choose a seam, participate in it, and compete for the resources of the seam. For example, if the human race chooses the world of Dongwu seam, then the human world gods can always be stationed in the world of Dongwu seam in the future. But Yitian has not yet chosen which realm of seams. After all, the human race's current focus is on the Eternal Realm, not the Dongwu realm. Therefore, there is no need to rush this matter. Chapter 3093 A New World of Seams. In addition to these benefits, top forces also have special rights. For example, the Jia Ting headquarters will not care about the destruction of some forces, even medium and powerful forces, but it cannot go too far, otherwise the Jia Ting headquarters will still intervene. It is really because of this special right that many forces dream of becoming top forces. The reason why there are such special rights is that the realm of the gods needs top forces to compete with the demon seed abyss. If the top forces destroy small forces that offend themselves, they will be sanctioned and punished. How can the top forces develop? Therefore, even if a lot of troubles are caused, the World Court headquarters can at most ask the top forces to pay some fines. It is precisely because of this that the top forces can develop and grow as much as they want. In addition, there is almost no conflict between the top forces, which makes the top forces extremely powerful, and also makes the strength of the realm of the gods become very powerful. As for the medium forces and powerful forces, even if some of them are destroyed, there will not be much loss to the realm god. On the other hand, losing a top force would have a big impact. The realm of the gods. Headquarters of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. The high-level world gods here learned that the human race had become a top force, and immediately ordered not to suppress the human race anymore, and they did not dare to suppress it anymore. Their original strength was not as good as the human race, but they only dared to suppress the human race because of their status as a top force and the protection of the World Court. But now, the human race is already the top force. Even if Yi Tian disobeys the orders of Jia Ting and kills the entire Skyfire God Alliance by himself, Jia Ting headquarters will not execute Yi Tian, but will at most give him heavy punishment. But at that time, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance was no longer there, so there was no point in punishing them more. Therefore, they did not dare to provoke Yi Tian anymore. Fortunately, they are still a top force and are protected by the Jia Ting headquarters. Once Yi Tian dares to attack the Skyfire God Alliance, the Jia Ting headquarters will still stop him. Naturally, the Heavenly Fire God Alliance is not afraid of being destroyed by the human race, and the human race has only just become a top force, and it is not possible to suppress the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. However, they also know very well that if a high-level peak world god who condenses 9 eternal world spirits is not born, then the status of the Skyfire God Alliance will become lower and lower, and it will not even be qualified to fight against the human race in the future. As a result, they worked hard to practice and strive to restore the strength of the Heavenly Fire God Alliance. The news that the human race has become a top force has really shocked many top powers. For example, the top forces in the Dongwu realm were very surprised. They knew that the human race would become the top force, but they didn't expect it to happen so quickly. It was completely unexpected. After, Yi Tian sent 10 mid-level world gods to serve at the World Court headquarters, and they all held high-level positions. And Yi Tian is also continuing to cultivate intermediate peak world gods. Only 10 intermediate peak world gods are not enough, and they must continue to be cultivated. However, after these mid-level peak world gods reach such a level of cultivation, they will no longer be able to obtain resources from the human race for training. If they want to improve their level of cultivation and challenge the high-level world gods, they have to rely on themselves. Time flies. There are more and more intermediate-level world gods in the human race, but it is difficult for one intermediate-level peak world god to be born again. As time goes by, the death zone on the eternal border gradually disappears. It won't be long before the eternal borders will be completely restored. At this time, the top treasures of the eternal kingdom were also being born one after another. The human race often competed with other forces for some treasure land resources. With more resources, the number of powerful human race people naturally increased rapidly. Many human races have received opportunities, and their strength has improved very quickly, and ETN does not need to worry about it at all. And ETN is also acquiring black leaf magic gold. After the human race becomes a top force, it will be much easier to deal with other top forces. Moreover, many top forces are optimistic about the potential of the human race and ETN, so they are also willing to trade with Yi Kai. In this way, ETN purchased a lot of black leaf magic gold. The black leaf magic gold is still helpful to me. With the help of the origin of the black leaf magic gold, I can still refine the eternal Tao seed. But ETN is also very clear that it is very difficult to use the black leaf magic gold to refine the eternal Tao seed to its current limit, and the black leaf magic gold required is simply a huge number. But no matter what, the black leaf magic gold can help him quickly improve his cultivation. It is currently the only resource he knows that can quickly refine the eternal Tao seed. He has no other means to quickly improve the eternal Tao seed. 0. If you slowly refine and upgrade the eternal Tao seed, the time required to raise the eternal Tao seed to its current limit will be too long. The unit is hundreds of millions of Tao era, and it is an insignificant small unit. In that case, it would take too long. He didn't want to continue practicing so slowly. He would naturally have to rely on resources to improve himself. That's all. ETN continues to acquire the black leaf magic gold, and one of the replica bodies is responsible for refining the origin of the black leaf magic gold and tempering the eternal Tao seeds. The other replica bodies only need to be busy acquiring the black leaf magic gold. Of course, he is also trying to find resources that can help refine his eternal Tao seed. It would be best if he could find other substitutes. 0. But such resources that help him quickly improve his eternal Taoism do exist, but they are extremely precious and rare. Other high-level world gods also need them and cannot obtain them in large quantities. Black leaf magic gold is useless to other high-level world gods. These high-level world gods dare not use black leaf magic gold to temper the eternal Tao seed. Only then can he have the opportunity to purchase black leaf magic gold at a very low price. Otherwise, he cannot be purchased in large quantities. Therefore, he wanted to find this special resource similar to black leaf magic gold. Unknowingly, 100 million Zidao era years passed. At this time, nearly half of the territory of the Eternal Kingdom returned to normal. Moreover, many world rifts have been born here, but they are all occupied by major forces. The human race also occupies some world rifts and relies on the resources of these world rifts to grow rapidly. However, there are also many human world gods who have fallen into the world rifts. Demonic hands. But overall, the strength of the human race is still improving by leaps and bounds. This day, somewhere in the human territory, an entrance to the boundary appeared, and he reported it to ETN immediately. Because this boundary seam is not an ordinary crack, but a boundary seam. Is it really the boundary between the seams? ETN was extremely surprised. Immediately, he passed over immediately. Soon, he entered this place that was suspected to be a boundary and explored it. At this time, he was sure that this was really a world of seams, and it was a world of seams that had just been born, and had not even been discovered by the demons. Chapter 3094 Kill the high-level peak demon species. ETN has long known that the boundaries between the Eternal Kingdom, the Realm of Realms and the Demonic Abyss are not always there, but are constantly increasing, but the frequency of increase is very slow, and it will take endless years for one to be born. And it does not exist permanently, and some boundaries may gradually collapse due to certain factors. Since the existence of the world of seams, many worlds of seams have disappeared. If the human race takes over a newly born world of seams, they will definitely be able to obtain massive resources from here. Yi Tianxin thought. Ever since, he immediately occupied this entrance and arranged some world gods here to protect it as a boundary gap. Even ordinary people say that this is a rift in the boundary. Only a very small number of middle-level world gods who are allowed to enter here know that this is the rift in the boundary, the realm of zero. Yi Tian still doesn't want other top forces to know that a world of seams has been born here. In that case, other top forces will inevitably participate. Under normal circumstances, only one top force is allowed to participate in a seam realm, but if the newly created seam worlds are rich in resources, they are enough to give up other seam worlds. The resources in the realm of the seam are relatively abundant at the beginning. Although the resources will regenerate and the regeneration speed is very fast, in fact the regeneration time is getting longer and longer, and it is reduced to a certain extent. After infinitely long years, the quality of the resources born will even decrease. Rumor has it that the reason why these resources are regenerated so quickly is because they are completely consuming the source of the world. This is also the reason why the world will collapse. Because the source is always being consumed, if there is no world god to mine resources, then the source of the world of the seam will not be consumed, but a large amount of resources will be taken away, and the resources will not appear out of thin air, and the source will inevitably be consumed. As time goes by, the source of the world of the seam continues to decrease sharply, and it will definitely collapse one day. Of course, the world of the seam will also instinctively adopt self-rescue methods, such as the period of silence. Just like the Dongwu seam realm, it has entered a period of silence before. Using the silence period to slowly restore its origin, this also slows down the collapse of the seam world. Let's name this world of seams the world of endless seams. Yi Tian began to lead the middle-level world gods of the human race to search for resources in this endless world. However, whoever found the resources must give half of them to the human temple to cultivate other human races. Without the danger of demons, it is simply a matter of picking up resources. Of course, there are also some native creatures in this endless realm, but they are relatively weak. There are not many intermediate realm gods who have reached the realm of realm gods who are enough to deal with these native creatures. And once these native creatures are killed, there is no way to breed them quickly. Every day, a large amount of resources are sent to the human temple, many of which are even useful to high-level world gods, and even more resources are useful to mid-level world gods. However, Yi Tian knew very well that it wouldn't be long before the demons would discover this realm of rifts. Therefore, he must take the opportunity to take away more resources. Otherwise, if he wants to take away resources in the future, he will have to fight with the demons, and it will be easier to expose this place. Unknowingly, some time passed. This day, demon species finally appeared in the world of endless seams, and a large number of demon species poured in. But Yi Tian had already anticipated this situation, so he immediately asked the weak middle-level world gods to withdraw, while several of his clones were here to kill the demon species. He wants to kill these demon species so that they dare not send a large number of mid-level demon species in. Otherwise, there are too few intermediate world gods in the human race. How can they compete with the demon species? They dare not fight, otherwise a lot of mid-level world gods will be lost. God. The human race has not yet fully risen, and is weak among the top forces. How can it afford to lose? Therefore, he can only use this method. Yi Tian is a high-level world god, and now his strength will be suppressed by the world of endless seams. If a high-level demon species that has condensed 9 eternal world spirits fights against him, there will still be no difference. But, Yi Tian can also condense a copy of the middle-level peak world god cultivation level, and the strength he can exert here will be even greater. This is the special characteristic of the world of seams. The higher the cultivation level, the lower the combat effectiveness. But this is because Yi Tian's foundation is too strong and he is able to fight beyond the level, so this situation happens. As the years passed, Yi Tian killed more and more demon species, which also made the demon species abyss extremely angry. This day, the demonic abyss sent 10 high-level peak demons into the realm of endless seams. This scale exceeded that of the Dongwu seam. Even the Dongwu seam could not gather 10 high-level peaks. God, and the demon seed abyss sent in at will. These 10 high-level peak demons suddenly appeared and directly surrounded and killed one of Yi Tian's clones. The demon abyss is really willing to spend money. The 10 high-level peak demons seem to be really angry, and they also attach great importance to this world of seams. Yi Tian secretly said. Then, he copied several cloned bodies with intermediate peak realm god cultivation levels, so that his strength would not be suppressed, and he could also exert high-level realm god combat power comparable to 8 eternal world spirits, enough to deal with those high-level realm gods whose strength was suppressed. The peak realm god. Soon, several of Yi Tian's cloned bodies with intermediate peak world god cultivation levels fought against these high-level peak demon species. Rumble. Yi Tian's various eternal world spirit techniques burst out, fighting these high-level peak demon species, and smashed the people in this area to pieces. And he still had the upper hand, and soon a high-level peak demon was killed by Yi Tian. Seeing this scene, other high-level peak demon species were frightened. They are not ordinary 3.4 demon species without intelligence. Ordinary demon species have no intelligence and cannot be afraid, but these high-level demon species are very intelligent and have various emotions, so they will naturally be afraid. They never expected that Yi Tian's lower-level mid-level peak world god clone would be even more terrifying. Without the ability to be suppressed by the world of seams, it could actually explode with such terrifying combat power. They miscalculated. Escape, we can't fight. These high-level peak world gods immediately began to flee. Yi Tian tried his best to intercept, but he only stopped one high-level peak demon species and killed him, while the other high-level peak demon species escaped. However, being able to kill two high-level peak demons is already pretty good. And after this battle, the demons will definitely be afraid and will not send too many demons in to die. Chapter 3095 The Eternal Kingdom is completely restored. In the following days, only a few demon species sneaked into the endless seam to harvest resources, even avoiding Yi Tian. They did not dare to stay here for a long time, and left quickly after finding the resources. They were also afraid of being killed by Yi Tian, and then they would have nothing. In this way, the human race can be regarded as occupying this boundary seam in disguise. However, in order to prevent the demon species from sending a large number of high-level world gods to invade this world of seams again, Yi Tian's cloned body has to sit here. In this way, he can truly protect the safety of the human world gods. In this way, resources from the endless seam realm continued to pour into the human temple. The resources of the human temple increased crazily and were used to cultivate a large number of world gods. As time goes by, the human race has more and more world gods, and there are more and more intermediate world gods. And on this day, there were several more intermediate peak world gods. According to this development, there will definitely be more and more intermediate peak world gods in the human race. However, if we want to catch up with the number of peak intermediate world gods from the top forces, we will definitely not be able to do it in a short time. It will take a long time. Okay. 105 After a long period of time, the resources in the endless seam realm have become much less, and many resources are still being rapidly gestated. However, this speed cannot be gestated all at once, and the gestation speed of top resources is longer. But no matter what, Tian Lai will eventually be born. Almost all the resources in the endless seam realm will be appraised by Yi Tian. Yi Xingchen and Yi Xingyu will also help process these resources. After the appraisal, they will be classified. If the resources are useful to high-level world gods, they will be deducted and given to they use. This day, Yi Tian found a resource that could replace black leaf magic gold. Ma Ming Xuansha. This was a grain of black and uneven sand. At first, because of its small size, Yi Tian didn't pay too much attention to it. The main thing is that the energy of this demonic black sand is restrained and almost unremarkable. Therefore, he did not regard this piece of demonic black sand as a good thing. He had seen it several times before, but he did not care about it and did not even pick it up. This time, he found this substance on the demon species he killed, so he checked it by the way and discovered the preciousness of the demonic black sand. The demonic black sand cannot directly temper the eternal Tao seed, but the demonic black sand can make it easier to temper the eternal Tao seed. In other words, after using the demonic black sand to integrate the eternal Tao seed, under the influence of the demonic black sand, it will be very effective to use other resources to temper the eternal Tao seed, which means that the difficulty of tempering the eternal Tao seed will be reduced. Combining the demonic black sand with the black leaf demonic gold will make your cultivation much faster. Yi Tian thought so. So, he then began to collect a large amount of demonic black sand. Any human world god found demonic black sand in the endless seam of worlds and could trade it with the human race temple in exchange for other useful resources. The demonic black sand is of no use to ordinary world gods. On the contrary, it is harmful. If the demonic black sand is held for a long time, the eternal Tao seed will be affected. As for refining, I don't even dare to do it. Unless you want to transform into a demon species, you dare to refine the demonic black sand. Therefore, those world gods almost never hide the demonic black sand secretly, but will give it to the human temple, and naturally it falls into Yi Tian's hands. That's all. Yi Tian used the magic black sand and black leaf magic gold to practice to improve his eternal Tao seed, and strive to upgrade the eternal Tao seed to the current limit as soon as possible. While Yi Tian was practicing in this way, his wife and children were also practicing in this way, but they became high-level world gods later, so their progress was naturally not as good as Yi Ku's. Gradually, another long period of time passed. At this time, the death zone of the eternal border is gradually disappearing, which means that the complete recovery of the eternal border is just around the corner. Moreover, the energy of the eternal realm is also rising sharply, but one result of this is that the energy of the world God realm is declining. For a moment, many forces in the kingdom of gods were panicked. After all, this was the first time they had experienced a drop in energy in the kingdom of ghosts and gods. But gradually, they all knew the reason. This is eternal realm absorbing the energy of realm God realm, but it will not absorb too much. Compared to the eternal realm, the realm of the realm is in a secondary position. Something happened in the eternal realm before, so the Jieting headquarters transferred the energy of the eternal realm into the realm of the divine. Now that the eternal realm has been restored, part of this diverted energy will naturally be fed back. So, this is normal and nothing to be alarmed about. But this time, the decline in the energy of the realm has really made many forces realize that the eternal realm will dominate in the future, and the realm of the realm will be surpassed by the eternal realm in the future. Then, it is estimated that many top forces and powerful forces will move their headquarters to the eternal border. Unfortunately, even if those small forces want to move to the eternal border, they are not qualified, and they cannot even sneak across. Finally on this day, the eternal border was completely restored and the death zone disappeared. At this moment, many top forces have begun their second relocation, moving most of their combat forces to the eternal kingdom, but they will not abandon the kingdom of God. In addition, they are still spending a lot of money to move the entrance to the realm of the realm of the realm of the realm to the eternal realm. All the top forces are relocating. It seems that in the future, these top forces will take eternal border as their core. Yi Tian murmured, the human race has occupied a large territory, and with his current strength, he can hold it. Unless the supreme power and a very small number of top forces intervene, he is not afraid of any top power. Soon after, the relocation of the major top forces has ended, and the territory of the eternal border has almost been divided up, leaving only a few remote and energy-scarce areas that have not been occupied. It is also reserved for some weak forces and is a territory prepared for them. This also shows that they are kinder, otherwise it would be too much to occupy all the territory. Another period of time passed. Yi Tian was still practicing, but the Jieting headquarters sent an invitation through the human race's staff who stayed at the Jieting headquarters, inviting him to go to the Jieting headquarters for a meeting. This meeting is very important. Each top force will send a high-level world god as a representative, and this time it will also include the entire eternal kingdom and the world god kingdom. It is definitely a very important matter to discuss. Chapter 3096 Supreme Power, Void of Death. Soon, Yi Tian arrived at the World Court headquarters, and high-level world god representatives from other top forces also arrived here. Normally, there are very few high-level world gods in the World Court headquarters, but at this moment, there are countless high-level world gods, and high-level world gods can be seen everywhere. After all, there are more than a dozen top forces in the Dongwu realm, and the Dongwu realm is one of the last among the many realms of the realm of the realm. You can imagine how many top forces there are in the realm of the realm of the realm. With so many top forces sending representatives, naturally there are many high-level world gods. Here, Yi Tian also met his old acquaintance Guya ghosts and gods of the Shishi Dongwushi sect. The god of the ancient Ya world came to attend this meeting on behalf of the Dongwu ancient sect. God of the ancient world. Yi Tian went over to say hello. When Guya world god saw Yi Tian, he exclaimed in great amazement, Yi Tian world god, we meet again. I didn't expect that in such a short period of time, you would develop the human race to a top power, and you also have such terrifying combat power. Yi Tian briefly chatted with Guya realm god for a while. Suddenly, Yi Tian asked, Guya realm god, do you know what this meeting is about? He had just become a high-level world god, and the human race had just become a top force. His information and connections were naturally far inferior to those of the ancient world god. That's why he wanted to get some information from Guya world god. Guya realm god murmured, to be honest, I don't know very well. There is just a rumor that this meeting is organized by the supreme power. It is said that it has something to do with the sudden restoration of the eternal kingdom. Is it related to the sudden restoration of the eternal realm? Yi Tian was slightly surprised. In fact, he was also very curious about why the eternal kingdom suddenly recovered. There was no sign before, but it suddenly recovered, and it didn't take too long for the entire eternal kingdom to return to its original state. This is really abnormal. You must know that the origin of eternal kingdom was extremely incomplete before, and it was plundered by the realm of the realm gods. Even the headquarters of the realm has almost completely abandoned the eternal realm, and does not send many realm gods to guard it. The demon seed abyss doesn't value the eternal realm either, otherwise they wouldn't have just sent a few mid-level Mo seeds and a group of ordinary eternal realm god realm Mo seeds to invade. You know, any powerful force is far more powerful than this. It can be seen that both sides do not pay attention to the eternal border. Obviously, they all believed that there was no possibility of restoring the eternal kingdom. As a result, not long after the past, the eternal kingdom suddenly restored, which was not expected at all. Therefore, something big must have happened. But for such a big thing, the top forces don't know the reason, but those supreme forces definitely know. Perhaps this meeting will reveal the truth. As time passed, representatives of the top forces came. This day, the meeting started. In an extremely majestic hall, a high-level session came to the dense void throne. These high-level world gods sat on these seats. Except for the main seats, the other seats were not prioritized. All high-level world gods sat down one after another. But above the main seats, figures suddenly appeared. These figures gradually solidified, and Yi Tiandu was secretly shocked by the faint aura. He can sense the terror of these figures, which are definitely existences that surpass the high-level peak world gods. These are the peak cultivation levels of the eternal world god realm, that is, the peak world god. Yi Tian secretly said, he has never seen a peak world god, because almost none of the top forces have a peak world god. Top forces like Dongwu Jiyu sect, which is a high-level peak world god, do not have a peak world god. Except for a very small number of the top forces, there are peak world gods. If you have more than 3 peak world gods and more than 10 high-level peak world gods, you can apply to become a supreme force. But the realm of gods has been without supreme power for endless years. The number of supreme forces in the Kaishan kingdom has always been 162, and most of the supreme forces are very mysterious and rarely appear. Even if demons invade the Kaishan kingdom, they cannot be seen. Figure. Perhaps these supreme forces who block the demon seed abyss in other places will not be seen by ordinary forces. Yi Tian was extremely surprised when he first learned about the number of supreme forces. After all, there were too many supreme forces. But if you think about it carefully, it is almost difficult to destroy the supreme power. It is very reasonable to have so many supreme powers accumulated over countless years. Each of these peak world gods can easily kill me. Yi Tian thought to himself. Therefore, he is no longer arrogant at this moment. Compared with these peak world gods, he is still very weak. Soon, Ice Shadow Realm God, one of the pinnacle world gods, spoke. The Ice Shadow Realm God comes from the Ice Realm Gate, one of the supreme forces, and the Ice Realm Gate is also extremely powerful, far exceeding the ordinary supreme forces. Therefore, the Ice Shadow Realm God spoke as the representative of the supreme power this time. Everyone, I have summoned you here to discuss an important matter. Everyone should know that not long ago, the Eternal Kingdom suddenly returned to its original state. In fact, we, the supreme forces, did not expect it. According to our previous judgment, the Eternal Kingdom it is almost impossible to recover, even if all the supreme forces join forces, the Eternal Kingdom cannot be restored. Ice Shadow Realm God said. Many high-level world gods were extremely surprised. All the supreme forces could not restore the Eternal Kingdom together. How was the Eternal Kingdom restored? The Ice Shadow Realm God continued. The Eternal Realm, the Realm God Realm, Li Hao, and the Demon Seed Abyss are the 3 great realms connected to each other in the Death Void. The place where these 3 realms meet is a seam between the realms. Realm. At the beginning, the Eternal Kingdom was beaten to a state of incomplete origin, itself was eroded by the void of death, and the endless territory turned into a death zone. Our supreme forces joined forces, and this allowed the Eternal Kingdom to absorb the escaped origin and open up the Eternal Kingdom. It can barely support the basic operation of the Eternal Kingdom. After hearing this, many high-level officials understood. But Yi Tian heard about the Death Void for the first time. However, he did not ask, but continued to listen. Ice Shadow Realm God added. Not long ago, in the void of death, a broken branch penetrated the Eternal Realm and fell into the origin of the Eternal Realm. At first, we didn't care, until the Eternal Realm suddenly recovered not long ago. Only then did we realize that the restoration of the Eternal Border should be the result of the broken branches. Chapter 3097 Broken Branches, Study. What? A broken branch restored the Eternal Border? Many high-level world gods were stunned. Even Yi Tian was extremely shocked and couldn't believe it. How huge the Eternal Kingdom is. If a broken branch can restore the Eternal Border, then the body of the broken branch is such a terrifying thing. Yi Tian found it unimaginable, and suddenly felt that everything was too dreamy. However, Yi Tian and other high-level world gods continued to listen to the Ice Shadow God's story. Ice Shadow Realm God continued, "We are not sure what the origin of that broken branch is. However, this time our power to explore the broken branch was triggered, forming a special area. Currently, the demons in the demonic abyss are also trying to control the broken branch, so we must first remove the broken branch." At this time, a high-level world god asked, "Master Ice Shadow World God, this meeting is just to discuss this issue. It seems to have nothing to do with top forces like us, right?" Other high-level world gods are also very confused. After all, there are many high-level world gods and peak world gods of the supreme power. Why do we need high-level world gods like them? If even the peak world gods can't take away the broken branches, then they can't do it either. The Ice Shadow Realm God smiled 803 and said, "In that area, only high-level realm gods are eligible to enter, but we don't know if we can remove the broken branches, but the more high-level realm gods go there, maybe a high-level world god will be able to take away the broken branch. Therefore, this is also a test, and maybe it contains a great opportunity, and it is also an opportunity for you." Chance. The high-level world gods present were all excited, maybe they were the lucky ones. That broken branch can restore the eternal realm. This is simply beyond any treasure in the eternal realm and the world god realm. Once they control such a treasure, wouldn't their strength be able to advance by leaps and bounds, and it will be very simple to become the peak world god in the future. Let's do it. Ever since, they started looking forward to it. However, many high-level world gods were not excited, but frowned. They felt that these supreme forces had definitely studied the broken branch a long time ago, but obviously there was no way to take it away, so they just asked the high-level world gods of the top forces to give it a try. Otherwise, such a good opportunity would not be available. Top powers. But if you can't research anything, it's all in vain. God of the Ice and Shadow Realm, when are you going to go to the special area formed by the residual technique? Another high-level world god asked. After this meeting, you go back to prepare and deal with some things. After all, you may stay in that area for a long time, and you must arrange things. For example, in the boundary of the seam, a certain amount of manpower must be reserved, etc. You don't need to go all together, you can enter in batches. Wait, once you enter it, if you come out again, you will not be able to go in again. You will be resisted by that special area. Even the peak world god cannot resist the power of the broken branches, it's also impossible to enter. The Ice Shadow Realm god reminded. We'll know. These high-level world gods responded. Subsequently, these high-level world gods left and went back to deal with things. And Yi Tian has also gone back. It's not the earliest time to enter that special area yet. When the time comes, he will go there as soon as possible. Certainly, he will not bring his wife and children with him. After all, he still doesn't understand where it is. It's not clear whether it is a chance. After he fully understands it, if it is really a chance, he will let his wife and daughters attend the meeting. Soon, the time mentioned by the supreme forces came. At this time, Yi Tian can go there. It's okay if he goes later, but he naturally wants to go there as soon as possible. Wow, Yi Tian kept traveling and finally arrived at the Jiating headquarters. At this time, the supreme forces have built a large formation here that connects to that special area. This large formation can also directly connect to the origin of the eternal border. To open such a large formation, the price paid is very high. But the supreme forces have such a foundation. If the top forces were to build such a large formation, they would lose all their money to build it. Yi Tianji God. Guya World God appeared next to Yi Tian World God and shouted. Guya Realm God, let's go in together. Yi Tian said. Good. Guya World God followed Yi Tian in, but Guya World God was not him. He also brought other high-level world gods from Dongwu Jiyu sect with him. This time, Dongwu Jiyu sect directly dispatched 16 high-level world gods, which shows that they attach great importance to the broken branch. Exclamation mark. Many high-level world gods passed through the formation and were teleported. Boom. This inheritance formation directly breaks through the rules of the eternal realm and goes directly to the original space of the eternal realm. The layers of indestructible barriers are like nothing in front of the teleportation power of this formation, and in this area, high-level world gods cannot enter by their own strength. But now relying on the large formation, these high-level world gods can easily come in. Click. A special barrier has been broken. Suddenly, many high-level world gods came to a special area. As soon as they entered, they felt unimaginable oppression. An unimaginable force seemed to trample them, and it was not easy for them to move. But as time goes by, they gradually adapt to it, but they will definitely not be able to exert too much strength here. Of course, they don't need to show any strength here. They are not here to fight, but to study the broken branches. At this time, all high-level world gods have sensed the power of the broken branch. The power of the broken branch is everywhere here, but the most central position is the broken branch, where the power is the most intense and powerful. But even the peak world gods cannot absorb branches. Wow wow wow, after these high-level world gods entered here, they separated one by one, and they were ready to find a suitable place to conduct research. Yi Tian also separated from Guya realm god and the others and kept moving forward, but the closer he got to the broken branch, the more severe the suppression he received. After a while, he couldn't go any further. Just do your research here. Yi Tian murmured. Immediately, his will continued to seep in, and he vaguely observed the broken branch. At this moment, he really saw the appearance of this broken branch. A crooked branch, and the broken branch was very severe, covered with countless cracks. However, just such an ordinary-looking broken branch contains such terrifying power. Chapter 3098 Super-Dimensional Power. At first glance, Yi Tian was really shocked when he saw this broken branch. He couldn't imagine what kind of broken branches this was, and how it could restore the eternal border. But one thing is certain, the origin of the eternal kingdom is the instinct to absorb the power of the broken branches so that it can recover quickly. Who wouldn't be tempted by such amazing energy? If it can absorb one or two, the strength will not increase dramatically. But it is a pity that Yi Tian quickly absorbed this energy, but could not absorb it. This seemed to be abnormal energy and there was no way to absorb it. The eternal realm can absorb it, but that doesn't mean that high-level world gods like Yi Tian can absorb it. These are two concepts. If you can absorb the power of the broken branch, you can hope to control this broken branch. The other side, the demons also meditated there, but the peak world gods separated this area and did not come into contact with the demons. Obviously, neither the World Court headquarters nor the demon seed abyss wants to fight yet. After all, it's not worth it to fight desperately without even researching anything from the broken branches, resulting in heavy losses. Neither the world god nor the demon species is stupid. Inferior demon species only know how to kill and naturally don't care about profits, but powerful demon species will measure based on interests and will not blindly kill world gods, which is meaningless. These high-level world gods and peak world gods all study and study here. They won't leave anytime soon. However, if you can really research something, you may not necessarily say it. Of course, if something is researched and tested, it cannot be concealed. Those world gods at the top of the supreme power are also watching other world gods. If they really research something, they will definitely be targeted and let them speak out. Otherwise, these supreme forces would not be kind enough to allow the high-level world gods of these top forces to enter here for research. Years pass. Each high-level world god had a sad face, but some high-level world gods showed a little bit of excitement. It was obvious that they had researched something, but it would be impossible to say that they had researched a lot. For them, every new discovery is exciting enough. The power contained in the broken branches should be a power beyond our current situation. It is a class leap, so we cannot use it. Yi Tian secretly said, if you can control this kind of power, your strength will definitely skyrocket. But even if you master this power, you won't absorb a lot of energy. You can only control a little of this power. He didn't know whether those supreme forces understood this power, but even if they did, they might not tell them. In the blink of an eye, 100 billion to the Tao era has passed. This day, those supreme forces contacted Yi Tian and others, promising resources and sharing the research results of this period. Once they are valuable, they will give certain resource rewards. Some high-level world gods shared it and indeed received rewards. After that, once these high-level world gods research something, they will immediately reward them. Although Yi Tian has also researched something, he is still far away from controlling this power. However, these forces have begun to sell information again, but the resources required are many, enough to make high-level world gods bankrupt. But the intelligence information they gave must be very detailed and contain many secrets. Therefore, many high-level world gods are thinking about whether they should buy this piece of information. These supreme forces really know how to do business. 1,000 like this is enough to sell a lot of information, and the information cannot be leaked. Every high-level world god has to buy it. Not only will the capital be recovered, but also a lot of resources will be earned. Yi Tian thought to himself. As for whether many high-level world gods will buy it, that's for sure. If it really produces major results that help improve its strength, wouldn't it be a huge profit? For example, Yi Tian decided to buy this information. Soon, he contacted the Ice Shadow Realm God and purchased information. God of Ice and Shadow Realm, I use these resources to purchase information. Yi Tian took out a lot of resources and said, okay, but the information requires an eternal Taoist oath and must not be leaked. Said the Ice Shadow Realm God. No problem, Yi Tian responded. Subsequently, the God of Ice and Shadow Realm transmitted the information to Yi Tian, and Yi Tian also paid the resources. Soon, Yi Tian understood all the information clearly and also learned a lot of information. 0. Please give me flowers. Although the supreme power cannot control this broken branch, it does know a lot of information. Judging from this intelligence information, the power contained in this residual branch is called superdimensional power. The so-called extra-dimensional power is a power that transcends all dimensions. Power is divided into low-dimensional, medium-dimensional, and high-dimensional. Ordinary life forms are low-dimensional beings. Taking the path of cultivation is equivalent to entering the middle dimension. High-dimensional life forms are extremely powerful, have eternal lifespan, and can be resurrected at will. Ordinary creatures. But at Yi Tian's level, high-dimensional life is nothing. They have all reached the limit of high-dimensional life forms. But the power of this broken branch contains superdimensional power. It turns out that this power is superdimensional power. Only superdimensional life forms can control superdimensional power at will. The peak world god still belongs to the world god and is not an extra-dimensional life form. And this information also revealed the power above the peak world god. Realm, the realm of extra-dimensionality. Once you reach the realm of extra-dimensionality, you can even resurrect the eternal realm of gods. 0. Yi Tian was shocked. What is the probability of resurrecting the eternal world god? It means that high-level world gods or even peak world gods can be resurrected. And a high-level world god like him cannot even achieve the eternal realm of resurrection. At this moment, he was extremely eager to become a super-dimensional realm. But one thing is certain, those supreme forces do not have an extra-dimensional realm, otherwise they would definitely take away the power of this residual branch, and there is no need to let them come in to study this extra-dimensional thing. Naturally, this information is not just an introduction to a superdimensional name, but also contains some important information. For example, this broken branch is a broken branch from some kind of extra-dimensional life plant. This will contain extra-dimensional power. If you can control this broken branch, you can exert extra-dimensional power and use extra-dimensional means. But obviously, it is extremely difficult to achieve this, even for peak world gods, let alone peak world gods like Yi Tian. The information also mentioned that you can create some secret techniques to perceive the extra-dimensional power and gain some insights. If you can comprehend it for infinite years, you might actually be able to control a little bit of the extra-dimensional power. As long as you can create some extra-dimensional means, no matter how cool you are, your strength will skyrocket. Chapter 3099 Super-Dimensional Extraction, Trading with the Supreme Power. Extra-dimensional power. Yi Tian is also extremely eager for this kind of power. If he can control a little extra-dimensional power, even if it is not much, he should be invincible among the high-level peak world gods. Even if he cannot defeat the weaker peak world gods, at least he will be invincible. Being able to save one's life in the hands of the peak world god. This information is well worth the purchase. Yi Tian sighed. Although this information has no substantive effect and cannot allow him to control the extra-dimensional power, the information recorded above gives some understanding of the extra-dimensional power. This alone is enough for its value. Certainly, for many high-level world gods, spending so many resources to purchase such a piece of information will definitely be a loss, unless they can master the super-dimensional power in the future, then it will be a good deal. But many high-level world gods are destined to never be able to control the super-dimensional, 170, power, including those peak world gods. Those supreme forces probably also hope that more high-level world gods will participate and create some secret techniques that can inspire them, which can be regarded as using these high-level world gods from the top forces. Yi Tianxin thought. However, this requires countless years and may not necessarily create a useful secret technique. Maybe I hope to create a similar secret technique to absorb extra-dimensional power, so that I can try to understand the extra-dimensional power by absorbing extra-dimensional power. Yi Tian murmured. Ever since. In the following days, he activated the Tianyan roulette and used another cloned body to perform deductions in the eternal realm so that it would not be spied by the supreme forces and other top forces and high-level world gods. Time flies. Yi Tian sacrificed one copy of his body to carry out the deduction, which lasted for tens of millions of years. During this period, he also tried many times to study within the super-dimensional residual branch area. Although he would be targeted by the Supreme Force, there was nothing he could do about it. After all, even if he creates it, he will definitely have to use it. Once he uses it, it will be known and he will be targeted by the Supreme Power. So, it didn't matter to him. Finally this day, Yi Tian researched and came up with the results. A suitable secret technique has been created, which should be able to shake the super-dimensional power, but I don't know what the consequences will be. Yi Tian murmured. He named this secret technique super-dimensional absorption, but whether he can successfully absorb super-dimensional power still needs to be tested. In the super-dimensional residual branch area, Yi Tian began to use extra-dimensional absorption. In an instant, the aura on his body began to become deeper, and the void around him began to be stirred. In an instant, a ray of super-dimensional power was absorbed by Yi Tian, separated from this world, and integrated into Yi Tian's body. This moment, one by one, the peak world gods looked at Yi Tian, showing signs of shock. These peak world gods are all peak world gods from the Supreme Power, and they have been staying here to stare at and study high-dimensional power. At this time, Yi Tian's movements naturally attracted their attention. This high-level world god actually shook the super-dimensional power and even absorbed a ray of super-dimensional power. They were excited, but they did not disturb Yi Tian. After Yi Tian finished practicing, they would talk to Yi Tian. Yi Tian was immersed in absorbing this trace of extra-dimensional power. Although it was only a trace of extra-dimensional power, in his perception, this trace of extra-dimensional power seemed to surpass everything. His mind and body seemed to be separated from this side of time and space, and gradually to be assimilated generally. Fortunately, his strength is quite strong, and with the assistance of the secret technique of super-dimensional absorption, he gradually successfully refined this trace of super-dimensional power. However, it took a long time to refine just this trace of extra-dimensional power. After refining, he frowned. The secret technique of super-dimensional absorption can indeed refine super-dimensional power, but the effect is not very good and the side effects are somewhat serious. During the refining process of the extra-dimensional power, some damage was caused to the body, and these damages are difficult to repair. They are injuries caused by the extra-dimensional power. Moreover, the eternal Tao seed was also slightly damaged after being impacted. Yi Tian secretly said, but this bit of extra-dimensional power also helped him in some ways, such as making his physical body stronger. In short, this test let him know that super-dimensional absorption is not qualified, and he still needs to try to improve it. Right here, a peak world god came to find Yi Tian. This peak realm god is not the ice shadow realm god, but another peak realm god, the true hidden realm god. I've seen the true hidden world god, Yi Tian said politely. The true hidden world god waved his hand, forming a barrier so that other peak world gods and high-level world gods could not spy here. At this time, the true hidden realm god spoke. Yi Tian realm god, I won't beat around the bush. You should have used a secret technique to absorb and refine a trace of high-dimensional power just now, and your secret technique is very important to us. Set a price. Yi Tian knew that he was not qualified to refuse. If he offended the Supreme Power, he would be in trouble. Therefore, he could only agree. The next step is how to use the secret technique of super-dimensional absorption in exchange for useful benefits. This is the most important thing. So, Yi Tian stated his price. True hidden realm god, I need resources suitable for the cultivation of high-level realm gods, as well as more knowledge about super dimensions. Good, the true hidden world god agreed. The supreme forces like them do not lack the cultivation resources that high-level world gods need, so why not give them some? As for superdimensional knowledge, although the knowledge is priceless, it can be copied, so they are willing to give it away. But they did not allow Yi Tian to reveal the superdimensional knowledge, and only allowed themselves to master it. To this, Yi Tian also agreed. Next, they began to discuss the specific price, but the specific price depended on the value of the secret technique created by Yi Tian. If the value was very low, then the price given would naturally be very low. Subsequently, several peak world gods came over, discussed for a long time, and then made a 4.2 oath. After Yi Tian gave the secret technique of superdimensional absorption, the specific price was given. As for the price, Yi Tian was still very satisfied, mainly because he was not satisfied and it was not good. He doesn't have much say. These supreme forces don't care about his opinions. The main thing is that the super-dimensional extraction has given them as much as they want. These resources are sent directly to the human race Endless Kingdom Alliance. As for the super-dimensional knowledge, these peak world gods are directly passed on to Yi Tian. After obtaining extra-dimensional knowledge, Yi Tian discovered that these Supreme Foss's understanding of extra-dimensional knowledge was far beyond his imagination. But mastering extra-dimensional knowledge does not mean that you can control extra-dimensional power. These Supreme Forces must still not master the power of extra-dimensionality. At most, they can use some extra-dimensional things to exert some extra-dimensional means. That's all. Chapter 3100 The Medium Extra-Dimensional Object Kun Jamu. This piece of extra-dimensional knowledge includes a lot of knowledge, including how to use extra-dimensional things to explode extra-dimensional means. However, if you want to use extra-dimensional things to use extra-dimensional means, you must first fuse the extra-dimensional things. If the fusion fails, you will most likely perish or be assimilated by the extra-dimensional things. There is something mentioned in this extra-dimensional knowledge. Super-dimensional assimilation. Extra-dimensional assimilation is terrifying, even more terrifying than demonic transformation. At the level of a high-level world god, it is difficult to be transformed into a demon, but assimilation back to the super-dimension is enough to affect peak ghosts and gods. Once assimilated by a super-dimensional being, he will become a super-dimensional slave without any consciousness. If the fusion of extra-dimensional things is successful, you can use the extra-dimensional things to explode extra-dimensional means, and your strength will be very powerful. But if the assimilation fails, you will fall or be assimilated by the extra-dimensional things, which will cost a lot. Those Supreme Forces understand this so well, definitely tried. Yi Tianxin thought, perhaps the Supreme Forces have obtained extra-dimensional objects before, but the broken branches are not so powerful, so they are easy to obtain. If this is really the case, there must be a peak world god among the 5 supreme powers who has merged with extra-dimensional things. The strength of such a peak world god is absolutely terrifying. But the supreme power is also exploring step by step. Those peak world gods who integrate extra-dimensional things may have paid a heavy price, and the situation is not good. A mysterious place. Some peak world gods have obtained the secret technique of super-dimensional extraction and are currently discussing it. What an exquisite secret technique. Was this really created by a high-level world god in a short time? It may not have been created by the high-level world god. Maybe it was a secret technique inherited from somewhere, and then it was slightly modified by myself to become such a secret technique. This possibility also exists, but the origin of this secret technique has nothing to do with us. The main thing is, can it really help us improve the situation? Let me practice some training first. Not long after, the peak world god said, the secret technique of super-dimensional absorption is indeed useful to me, but the side effects are relatively large. Of course, I don't care about these side effects anymore. With this, I can probably continue for several more super-dimensional absorptions. After Wei Ji. Is this secret technique of extra-dimensional extraction helpful in fusing the remaining branches of the Kun realm wood? A peak realm god asked curiously. It can't be useful, another peak realm god said. The broken branch of the Kun realm tree that fell into our eternal realm is a medium extra-dimensional thing. Our ability to fuse low-level extra-dimensional things is already the limit. We dare to fuse it. Medium extra-dimensional things are seeking death. This time, we just hope that they can create useful secret techniques that can resist the power explosion of the remaining branches of the Kun realm wood, so as to take away the Kun realm wood. Otherwise, they will take away the Kun realm wood by force. Boundary wood will only be assimilated by the Kun boundary wood in the extra dimension. It is too difficult to take away the residual branches of the Kun realm wood. If the residual branches of the Kun realm wood are in a restrained state, they will not be hurt by it, but now the power of the residual branches of the Kun realm wood is constantly released and explodes, which is equivalent to every moment. It's too difficult to take it away if we are attacking. Unless we truly master the extra-dimensional means to take it away, there is no hope. No matter if there is any hope or not, we still have to give it a try. Besides, even if we can't take away the remaining branches of the Kun realm wood, there are other gains. For example, this super-dimensional extraction secret technique is very good and will help us. You have to keep an eye on the other side of the demon seed abyss. Their peak demon seeds are even crazier, and they might fight for us. Don't worry, those peak demon species don't dare to mess around, otherwise they will be assimilated by the super-dimensional and truly lose consciousness and become super-dimensional slaves. Yi Tian did not know what these peak world gods were discussing. At this moment, he was absorbing the extra-dimensional power of refining the remaining branches of the Kun realm wood, while using the Tianyan roulette to continue to deduce and perfect the secret technique of extra-dimensional absorption. The side effects of the super-dimensional extraction secret technique he created at the beginning had too many side effects, so he naturally had to improve it, at least reduce or completely eliminate the side effects of the super-dimensional extraction secret technique. Time flies. Yi Tian perfected it step by step, and the secret technique of super-dimensional absorption was really perfected by him, and the cost of side effects became lower and lower. Gradually, 200 million Zidao era years passed. At this time, the secret technique of super-dimensional extraction has been quite perfected, and the side effects are very low. However, he is still not satisfied and wants to continue to perfect the secret technique of super-dimensional extraction. But on this day, something unexpected happened. Boom! The peak demon species and high-level demon species in the demon seed abyss suddenly launched an attack. They combined all their power into an item and launched an attack on the remaining branches of the Kun realm tree, instead of attacking them, the peak world gods and high-level demon species. The world god launches an attack. Devil seed abyss, you are crazy. The world gods at the peak of the supreme power were shocked. In an instant, everything around was enveloped in white light. This moment, one high-level world god escaped from here, and they did not dare to stay any longer. Yi Tian was not afraid of falling, but the void he was in was shattered, and there was no point in staying here, so he retreated a little. The demonic abyss is attacking this extra-dimensional object, why are you doing this? Yi Tian didn't quite understand. After much deliberation, he came up with only one possibility, which was to crush the extra-dimensional object, and then take away the fragments of the extra-dimensional object. Moreover, it can also prevent this extra-dimensional thing from expanding the eternal border. Otherwise, if it continues to grow like this, Eternal Kingdom may even be able to surpass its peak. Soon, more and more peak world gods and peak demon species are participating in the battle. No one knows how the battle is going. They are all distorted by extra-dimensional power. Not to mention high-level world gods, even ordinary peak world gods may be killed. I don't know how much time has passed. Suddenly, the fragments of the extra-dimensional object Kunji wood were shattered and turned into many smaller fragments. At this time, a piece of debris came quickly towards Yi Tian. This fragment poses very little threat, Yi Tian secretly said. The previous Kunji wood fragments exploded with extra-dimensional power all the time, but this smaller fragment not only contained very little extra-dimensional power, but also did not explode with extra-dimensional power all the time, so it could be easily taken away. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. Yi Tian burst out with strength and quickly grabbed it. Whoosh! This piece of Kunji wood was caught by Yi Tian, but he immediately ran away quickly. In fact, he was not the only one who took action to snatch the fragments of extra-dimensional objects, there were also many high-level world gods who intervened. Therefore, the supreme power cannot control it. Yi Tian did not continue watching the show, and did not know the situation of other high-level world gods snatching it. He only needed to snatch a fragment. He kept escaping until he returned to the eternal boundary human race endless kingdom alliance, and then he breathed a sigh of relief.